everybody! Welcome to International Sim Racing Organization's 1991 F1 Series from Monte Carlo in Monaco. Cars are finishing their qualifying session. We'll go to the qualifying order in just a moment to show you where everyone stands. I'm joined in the booth by Alberto Ibañez. Alberto, good evening.
Good evening, everybody. Great to be here in the most glamorous track of all the championship.
Yep, Monaco. There are a few tracks in the world that can measure up to the prestige and glamour of this circuit. And it's not just the glamour, Alberto, but also the challenge and the fact that this race usually throws up unusual results.
Yes, it certainly does. It's, after all, a street track. It's something that is completely outdated by today's standards. It already was in 1991. And the only reason that they were still racing here and they are still racing is because everybody loves it. And they love it because of the challenge it poses. But overtaking here is difficult. The tires will be having a really bad time. The traffic when lapping cars is really complicated. And on top of that, in real life, also many times unexpected things happen. Like, for example, one of the most notorious being a really rain-showered race where Olivier Panis in one of the pros was able to win the race. Somebody who was never expected to be able to even win a race with that car. But that goes on to show you that this is a race that, while the most important drivers in history, like Senna, Schumacher, and the like, have been able to be crowned here in many situations, it's also open for anybody because in the end, as you say, anything can happen, and many favorites have been taken out by errors, by traffic, but whatever the situation. So the race is open here also today for anybody to take it. We'll see how it goes.
All right, so let's have a look at where everybody is with the qualifying right now. And I believe, oh, hang on one second.
Oh, and I see that Richard Wilkes just joined. He barely made it into the qualifying, but he hasn't been able to turn a single lap, so he will be starting from the back of the grid.
And there you go. You can see.
I must say this is probably one of the safest positions to start with.
Well, there's a bunch of different. You could look at that different ways, but Pascal Mikola is on the pole for this race. Richard Coxon in second. Grant Rudall is in third. Gabriel Del Piccolo fourth. Dave Miller fifth. David Jakes in sixth. Little Al is in seventh. Ray Rudall eighth. Brian Janik ninth. And rounding out the top 10, Anders Nielsen in the incredibly well-handling Ligier Lamborghini. So while we have a moment here, why don't we go through the points situation going into today's race. With 3 rounds completed, Richard Coxon is in the lead in points with 20. Then we have Richard Wilkes with 11. Dave Miller 10. Brian Janik 9. And David Yunt, who I'm not sure is here today, with 7 points. In the constructor standings, Scuderia Italia is in first with 20 points on the strength of Richard Coxon's 2 wins. The Minardi team are in second with 16 points. Leighton House third with 11. The Cannon Williams team is on 10 points in fourth place. That's because of Dave Miller's win in Brazil, I believe. And then there's a tie for fifth place between Motor Racing Developments, also known as Brabham, and Braun Tyrrell Honda, and those are both those teams both have 6 points apiece. So while we have a moment here, Alberto, we wanted to talk about one driver in particular that's here today, because his story is particularly unique to him. I'm looking for him on the. There he is, and that is Mike Olsen.
Oops, yes,
sorry,
certainly is. Mike joined us for this year he was already here at the end of the last season, and he had been racing with us some races until he let me know some of the most peculiar circumstances of racing that I have ever seen in my life, because the guy is absolutely incredible. I mean, we had been watching him. He is a quick driver. He is doing many quick laps. Yet sometimes in the races he has bad luck and isn't able to finish. And I was wondering a bit more about him, and I stayed in touch with him over Discord, and then he showed me the video, and I was absolutely like, well, impressed. I have no words to say, because for all of you waiting here for the explanation, the thing is that Mike he doesn't have arms, and he doesn't have legs. I mean, just only a part of them. He's absolutely, well, disabled in that regard, and he's racing. Yes, you hear that, using the mouse. He's using the mouse for steering, for accelerating, and everything. So the first time I saw one of his videos, it was like, no way. I mean, the guy's joking me. This is not possible. And then he started the car and he went around, and it was like, Jesus Christ. I mean, if there's an inspiring example, this is really that guy. And he sent me a link to his Twitch channel and also YouTube channel, and he has many followers, and I can really understand that, because it's, I mean, Jason, you and me were talking about this some moments ago before the broadcast started, and when you already saw that, you said, well, this makes me think, I mean, I have no excuses for not doing anything in life. I mean, when I see this.
Yeah, I would echo that. We're watching the video right now, and this is him driving around the Nürburgring at speed, and your eyes do not deceive you. There he is on the right, operating the steering, and I'm guessing he's probably operating the accelerator and brake with his feet, I would think. I apologize if I don't have the facts entirely straight, but he's clearly utilizing just the mouse for directional control there. And you can see his eyes glance up occasionally. He's looking at telemetry or something, but just, I don't have any words to describe this that are adequate. This is just amazing.
Well, it certainly is, and now people will appreciate even more his driving when they see him on the track, because we have had here examples of people who, despite having, I mean, all their hands and legs and everything, they were driving with a gamepad. Like, for example, Alan Forster or Francois Remen. And you can see that bit in their driving, because the wheels are like going left and right very quickly. You can see there the digital gamepad at work. But in the case of Mike Olsen, you would never, ever have told that he was driving with a mouse and like that if you didn't know it.
Yeah, it's truly unbelievable. Unless you knew, you wouldn't know. Essentially, that's... So anyway, we thought that, and we got Mike's permission prior to this to share that with you. So we thought we'd show you a little background on one particular driver, because it's pretty unbelievable. So what are your predictions for this race, Alberto? I know that we talk a lot about, you know, what's who's going to be, you know, who's good at just one lap going around here, and on the other hand, it's like, well, you know.
Well, this is obviously a last man standing event. Yeah. That's what's going to happen. But if you talk about that, then who's the best one when it comes to last man standing? Well, I would say David Yates, Richard Coxon, and Richard Wilkes, because yeah, I know this is really a wild bet, but he's starting last, okay? So that means he will be getting traffic, that's for sure. But he will be avoiding all the mayhem that might happen in the turn one, which usually takes out some people and is many times a disaster. So why not? I mean, I would bet for him, because if there's a guy who can conserve the car and who can navigate through the traffic and change tires and all that, that's Richard Wilkes. So I think that if both David Yates and Richard Coxon can keep the car safe from the barriers, and especially from any incidents in the first laps, they obviously have a good chance to win. But since I'm going to do a wild bet, because what the hell, this is the only track that has a big casino there on top, I'm going to make the big bet, and I'm going to say Richard Wilkes, just for the heck of it. But as I said, anybody has really here a chance, and anybody who is able to stay out of trouble will be there at the end. So let's see.
Well, we're riding on board right now with Bruno Chacon, who's in the swimming pool, so he will in theory be starting a lap here, so we'll have a chance to watch him go around here real quickly. Heading into the Rascasse here, turning right. He's driving, of course, Ricardo Patrese Williams Renault.
We'll follow him a lap, and then we can interview the pole position sitter.
Yes, that's true. All right. Here he goes, accelerating down the straight. It's not really a straight, but it curves gently to the right. Downshifting for probably one of the most difficult corners on the circuit, Saint-Devote. Heading up the hill now through Beau Rivage, now into the Massenet, heading left, and this is the Casino Square coming up, back to the right. And now this very, very sharp downhill section. This is a lot sharper of a descent than you might think. Heading right into Mirabeau, and now down to the very famous station hairpin. There he goes. Now down to Poitiers, heading underneath this little bridge, then right-hand turn into the famous tunnel along the Mediterranean. This is a tunnel that has an apex right in the middle of it there, and it's very easy to get that wrong. Now he's going to be downshifting for Nouvelle Chicane, a corner that gives a lot of people grief. Now accelerating out, coming up to Tabac, a gentle left-hander, and now the swimming pool complex. If you thread the needle through here, you can pick up a lot of time. Second portion of swimming pool is a little tighter, and now accelerating around behind the garage area. Now a left-right at the Rascasse restaurant on the right, the old gasworks corner. Ooh, he clips the barrier slightly there. Comes up into Anthony Nose, and that is one lap of Monte Carlo.
And also, well wishing here for Bruno, because I know that he's driving today with a terrible pain in the back, because he had a bit of sciatic, and well, he, despite that, he made the effort to be here with all of us, put his car on the track and fight here for the points. So good luck to Bruno, and I hope that the race is not too much stalling on his back.
Well, we were going to talk to Pascal Mikola, but he appears to be heading out on the track right now, but yeah, he's so maybe we can catch him when we come back from the commercial break. Although now he's stopping. Now he's coming back inside. Okay.
Yeah, he was doing a quick test or something.
User was moved to your channel.
All right, so we're joined in the booth by the pole sitter for the Monaco Grand Prix, Pascal Mikola. Pascal, congratulations.
Hello. Yeah, thank you very much.
All right, so definitely a difficult challenge today, but it's made easier slightly by the fact, well, not slightly, by quite a wide margin, I would think, because you've got a clear track in front of you. So what's your strategy going into this race? Obviously, to get to Saint-Devote before everybody else, but beyond that, what are your thoughts today?
My biggest fear are the two cars behind me. Oxen has been very competitive during the long runs as well, especially on the long runs, so I'm praying that he has to stop twice for tires. But yeah, I personally am not 100% sure that I'm going to win the race. I'm more gunning for points, since that's one compartment where I definitely am lacking at the moment. It's very loud here.
Well,
but I can definitely tell that I'm gonna try to manage my tire wear, especially on the rear tires, because they are suffering a lot. Yeah, I think a good way to sum up my experience here at Monaco with the long runs as well is that my car it likes to go fast for one lap. Now I just gotta hope it goes fast for 78 laps, you know.
Well, you'll be probably working hard to manage those Pirelli P0s on all four corners. Alberto, any thoughts you'd like to share with or questions for our pole sitter?
Well, I think that Pascal summed it up well, because it's usually said that here starting from pole position is half the race. But the thing is that the other half of the race here can be really, really, really surprising and can give you lots of problems. So as Pascal says, if he's able to stay after turn 1 in the lead, and if he's able to keep it there, like conserve his tires because it's going to be so hard to overtake, then obviously that's his best bet. So good luck for the race, and especially for turn 1.
Yeah, thank you. Well, it is really gonna be difficult for me, I must say as well, because I've got quite a deficit on top speed. So going through the tunnel, I need to be very careful defending coming to the Nouvelle Chicane, because the cars behind me, they are like at least 5 kilometers an hour faster than me on the straights.
Great. We'll watch that during the race. Good for you to let us know that, so that we can appreciate the difference. So, again, good luck.
Thank you very much.
User was moved out of your channel.
All right, so while we have a moment here, we're going to take a short commercial break, and we'll be right back after these messages. Stay right with us.
Excuse me, sir. Why'd you get to know Geostorm?
Well, you just point it and it goes.
So it's a straight-ahead kind of car.
I don't know, it's got a few sexy curves.
So it's a well-rounded car?
Well, it's
Priced under 11 grand at your Chevrolet Geo dealers.
yeah, that too. Oh, sorry. You want to see a new Geo turn really beautiful? Amazing. Unbelievable. You got to admit, that's a beautiful Geo. At your Chevrolet Geo dealer.
Last year, while the other guys were fighting over truck sales supremacy, the roof fell in. Dodge ranked highest of any full-size pickup in the J.D. Power survey of customer satisfaction. So this year, while the other guys were fighting again, deja vu. Dodge Ram's ranked highest for the second year in a row, while sporting the best powertrain protection of any truck around.
Now save up to $43.70 on select trucks at the biggest Dodge truck sale ever.
In 1989, the Honda Accord was the best-selling car in America. Let us repeat that. In 1990, the Honda Accord was the best-selling car in America. Thank you.
I never thought I'd ever need glasses, or that I'd ever be reading financial journals. And I never thought I'd drive anything from an American car company. Times change. You change.
New systems, new standards, new thinking, new times. Mercury Tracer. It's built to change your mind. All this and the quality of a Mercury.
If I had a Z, it'd be silver. No, black. And I'd take it to a racetrack. Hold it. Nah, drive it cross country. That's what I'd do. Wait, Germany. Yeah, now that'd be epic. Running a Z flat out on the Autobahn. Too bad you can't drive to Europe.
If I could afford a sports sedan, the road would belong to me. Bob, I'd have one of those multi-valve engines, independent suspension, and of course, a spoiler on the back. Yeah, if I could afford a sports sedan, life would be a cruise.
Oh, it's you, Bob.
Introducing the new Nissan Sentra SER, because rich guys shouldn't have all the fun.
Pennzoil, at home in America. Indy racing, off-road racing, drag racing. We've been driving a long time to get to this one. NASCAR USA. Pennzoil is there. We've got the car. We've got the team. We've got the driver.
And if they got the oil, Pennzoil.
Pennzoil. Ever since America learned to drive.
The driver
driver of this car adds something special to his motor oil. So does the driver of this car. They both use STP oil treatment for drivers on a racetrack or drivers on a fast track. STP.
As cars get older, they may need higher and higher octane, or they can't perform like they used to. But there is a gasoline specially formulated to control this higher octane need while providing the highest level of engine cleanliness. Texaco System 3. You get great performance in every octane range.
Still think all gasolines are the same?
Inside your smooth-running engine is a torture chamber. And under these grueling conditions, only one leading motor oil meets the world's toughest requirements for viscosity breakdown. Castrol, the only leading motor oil that provides maximum protection against viscosity and thermal breakdown. So use Castrol. After all, why make things tougher on your engine? Castrol GTX, engineered for today's smaller cars.
While all engineers earn their degrees in school, ours are also graduates of a higher institution. Formula One Racing. Because those who learn to do it right in the first place have a tendency to finish there. The 1991 Acura Integra.
Introducing the Bud Light Jaguar Racing Team. Catch it this season. How do we get the truck back? Throw it in reverse.
If you order a suit designed around the way you're built, you have to wait about 2 months. If you want a house designed around the way you live, the wait is 2 years. But if what you desire is a car designed around the way you drive, you don't have to wait another day. The 1991 Acura Legend Coupe.
My goodness. We had a fire on the track a second ago. Yet another example, Alberto, of why it's good that this is just sim racing and not the real thing. We had a fire on the track.
Well, this is a track where many peculiar things have happened over the years, and some of them even reflected in the films that have been done about this mythical race. One of them was cars ending in the water, in the sea. I mean, yes, certainly. Jumping the barrier on an accident and ending in the sea. This is probably one of the few places in the world where your race can end in the sea.
Yeah, well, while we're talking about the trivia, we do have a trivia question to ask. So we'll show that to you real quickly, and you can ponder it. We'll give the answer later in the broadcast. The trivia question is, who qualified second for the 1991 Grand Prix of Monaco? Was it A, Gerhard Berger, B, Jean Alesi, or C, Stefano Modena? Well, the answer for you later in the broadcast. Now, coming up in the next few weeks almost made a huge faux pas there, at ISO, we have Tin Top Racing coming back on Wednesday. Winton Motor Raceway is the venue. A very interesting little track. I think some people might call it a Mickey Mouse track. But I think this should produce an interesting couple of races. I'm going to be racing this week as well because I have the week off of work, so I thought I'd take advantage and go some touring car racing. I'm sure you're going to be there as well, Alberto.
Oh yeah, for sure. That's a nice little track. You can call it Mickey Mouse if you want, but I love those Australian short tracks. The under 1 minute tracks that I like to call them.
I don't know. We're struggling to get a minute 30 out of this track.
No, this is obviously one of the longer ones, but I mean, there's many tracks in this championship that are under 1 minute, so...
All right, so that's this Wednesday coming up. Then we've got a bit of a break, and then we go back F1 racing on Sunday, March 22nd. It's the Molson Grand Prix du Canada at Circuit Gilles Villeneuve. That's round 5 of 16. Green light at 2000 hours CET. That was a memorable race in real life. And then we have on March 25th, which is a Wednesday, we go back touring car racing once again. The La Malala Motorsport Park. This will be rounds 11 through 12 of 16. Check the forum for the schedule. And then, that coming Sunday, guess what, Alberto? We go back
at Brenton.
Yes, we go back turning left, but also right. The Trentonian 200.
It's a track where nearly 50% of the turns are to the right.
Yeah, it's the closest thing these cars ever see to a road course. Round 4 of 13. And this is a new version of Trenton that's much more accurate than the one we've driven in the past. Thank you, Alberto and David Saber and everybody involved for bringing this track to us. And that's going to be on Sunday, March 29th, green flag at 2000 CET. So lots of great stuff coming up in the month of March here at ISO. So let's see, we got about 9 minutes to go. We can probably watch some of the... warm-up action here. Here's, Gianluca Desposito is going to be in this race. I guess he picked up Capelli's Leighton House at the last minute.
Yeah, he had been missing one race because he had lots of real-life work to do, but he's back now. So, looking forward to see him maybe trying to finish the race and collect some points.
Looks like he's trying to get the pace with that, it's kind of short-shifting that Ilmore there. Let's see who else we have on the track as well. Oh, here comes David Saber out on the track in his Alain Prost Ferrari, and the aforementioned Mike Olsen right behind him. It's been a difficult season for the Prancing Horse so far. No points at all scored by David or Mike in these cars, and maybe today they can turn it around.
Yeah, there's no question about the speed of both drivers. They can do very well. They have done very well regularly in qualifying and in race pace, but then they have been having bad luck or have crashed out in the races, and that's a shame. But sometimes those races where you have less expectations and you are not really like seeing that you can maybe do something, you're somehow more relaxed, take it easy. And in the case of races, attrition races like this one, well, that may be actually what pays off.
Yeah, very much. Here's the view from Mike Olsen's car. Actually, someone may want to talk to Mike Olsen. I think he's using the wrong... which car does he use, 28 or 27?
Let me check the entry list.
Because he might be in the wrong car. Yes, we've got two 27s on the track. So I don't know if the admins want to be pedantic about this, but probably they should be let known.
That would now upset the qualifying order, so I guess we'll have to live with that.
Okay, well then we'll just have to go with the tabs, which I will now turn on, and that will help us to know who is who. So this has got to be challenging for Mike. You're driving, you got that screaming Ferrari in front of you, and you got a screaming Ferrari behind you. Your eardrums will be in need of some rest after this one.
I guess we can discuss about which one makes the nicest noise of all the engines in the grid. But yeah, there's no question about the level of noise that all of them make.
Uh-oh, Mike Olsen showing some smoke at the back of the car.
Yep, likely overheating there at the end of the tunnel section, which is a quick one.
Yeah, he's going to have to watch that because, you know, again, this is a race of attrition, and he's not going to want to overcook that Ferrari engine. Of course, Ferrari were famous for overfilling their oil reservoirs and then having smoke coming out of them in the first few laps and telling the press and everybody who asked about it, normale, normale. So...
Speaking in Italian, there is one Italian who is taking things quite seriously today, and that's Gabriele Piccolo, who has been doing fantastic lap times here in the warm-up. He's already showing his teeth to anybody, letting them know that he will be very quick on track today. That's someone else who also should have already got a podium. He had a bit of bad luck there at Imola, who is somehow also a bit of his home track. But I mean, in any moment we can see him there climbing at the podium because his speed is absolutely out of the question. He just needs to get absolutely into the groove of how to make the quick laps and still conserve a bit more of the car, because that's what let him down in Imola. Not his driving, but the car that couldn't resist all the effort.
Oh, one other thing we should talk about, and I have him on screen now. Adam Hackman has switched to the Benetton team from the LaRousse team because Jason White has since left Benetton. So that's quite an upgrade for Adam when you think about it, from the LaRousse. The other thing that's going on with the Benetton team this week is that they have a revised radiator location on the car, so that might help Adam in some way. So he's got a new car with new features. The only other technical thing that's different from the last race is that the McLaren is now fitted with a clear windscreen. Other than that, these are the same cars that we saw in the previous round. And if you look just behind Adam there, let me see if I can get this on screen. Yeah, Simon Watman is making an appearance, driving Olivier Grouillard's Fonmetal Ford. We don't usually see this car in the grid, so it'll be nice to have the variety. And Simon's a guy that enjoys driving all manner of cars. We'll see. Hopefully he'll be able to survive this race. The races that he's entered at the last minute in recent weeks have not produced the best results, but who knows? You know, again, this is a race that throws up interesting situations, so I don't...
Yeah, Simon absolutely loves any outcome.
Oh! Simon just did a 1-8. Oh, shoot! And lost his... oh, well, he's going to the backup car, folks, for the start.
Yeah, he likes to drive all the odd cars that he can find, and I'm guessing if we ever did that mode, he would absolutely jump into the Antares for Indy.
Yeah, we've got people on the YouTube chat cheering for Pascal, so we've got I'm curious, like, if those of you who are watching, there's 9 watching right now, if you've got a pick for the race, go ahead and put it in the chat. I'm going to go out on a limb. Well, not really on a limb. I'm going to pick Richard Coxon to win this race because he has the skills to do well over a long course of a race. And, I mean, that's who I would pick. The surprise of the race, I'm going to say, is going to be Simon. I think Simon may have a chance to get into the top 6 if he just takes it slow and easy. Who do you think is going to win? Who's your pick?
Well, I picked already Richard Wilkes. I'm going to do the wild bet
you did.
Since we are at Monaco. But, I mean, it's obvious that it's anybody's race. And in the case of Pascal, he just showed us recently, not just that he's very quick at hot lapping here and getting the pole, but he also won an endurance race at the Norris Ring, managing very well his Porsche 956. So, I mean, it's not as if he lacks the skills to do a very conservative race here and do it well. And remember, starting on the pole, he will have a bit of advantage. But we'll see.
All right, so we got a minute and change here coming up. This is going to be, let's go back to the track map for a second, just to show you this is going to be a 78 lap race or 2 hours, whichever comes first. And you can see the parts of the track that are obscured by the tunnel. Yeah, this is going to be a really interesting race. It's definitely one where the commentators have to stay on the ball because there's a lot that's going to be going on, especially in the early laps. And we're going to do our very best to make sure that we bring all the action to you on the ISO YouTube channel. We thank you for tuning in. One more time with the... Well, it's 20 seconds only. As usual, we will be going through the grid as soon as we go to the formation lap.
And we also have to mention that we have here poor Thiago Canola, who is racing like at 3 a.m. in the morning.
No, actually, no. He's back in the States now.
Oh, it's already.
Yeah, his work in Japan is complete, and he is now back stateside. So
well, this will be really fun because he raced from Japan the United States Grand Prix, and he will race from the United States the Japan Grand Prix in that case.
Well, I don't know. We have no idea where any of us will be in the fall. It's one of those things you like to plan for that. I was supposed to be in Switzerland a week ago, but thanks to the coronavirus, I was not. So who knows? All right, so here we go to the race session. 78 laps. And we have, it appears, 23 cars, so as soon as we get underway here on the formation lap, we'll go through the grid.
And you all will be able to see now as they go past the first turn how tight it is, because it's a turn that progressively it's a decreasing radius turn. It starts softly, but then it ends in a 90-degree corner, and it's, well, so many accidents have happened here over the years, and when you see these very wide cars, you see them now going through, you will get a feel of how complicated it is to go safely through here, because they will be obviously starting and going full throttle with these things all out for that corner. And well, we can only really cross fingers and hope that everybody stays safe and has the best of luck, because it's probably one of the most dangerous Grand Prix starts in all the season.
Oh, no question about that. All right, off they go on the parade lap, on the pole. For the Monaco Grand Prix, Pascal Mikola in his Tyrrell Honda. Second, Richard Coxon in the Dallara Judd D191. Third, Grant Riddall, Brabham Yamaha BT60Y. Fourth, Gabriel Del Piccolo, who's had some scintillating drives in the Jordan. Fifth, the winner of the Brazilian Grand Prix, Dave Miller. Sixth, David Jakes, driving the second of the two Brabham BT60Ys. Seventh, Little Al, driving the first of the McLarens. Eighth, Ray Riddall, the second Dallara Judd. Ninth, Brian Janik, the Detroit Demon, in the Minardi Ferrari. 10th, Anders Nilsson doing a great job in the Ligier Lamborghini. 11th, Adam Hackman making his Benetton Ford debut in the B191. 12th, Thiago Canola, Lotus Judd 102B. If I'm not mistaken, this is the only Lotus in the field. 13th,
it's not, I think Timo is here.
Oh, okay, sorry. 13th is Juha Boss in the second McLaren Honda. I'm surprised he's that far down in the grid. We'll have to keep an eye on him. 14th is Mick Chapman in the Benetton Ford B191. 15th, who had Victor Alcacer, who had an excellent outing last time in this car at San Marino. 16th, David Saber, Ferrari 642, and his teammate. And 17th, Mike Olsen. 18th is Tim Hilla in the Modena Lamborghini 291. 19th, Gianluca Desposito making a one-off drive in the Leighton House Ilmore. 20th starting position is Bruno Chacon, Williams Renault. 21st, Simon Wattman in the Fonmetal Ford. 22nd, Richard Wilkes in the second CG 911. And rounding out the field is Timo Vermeersch in the second Lotus Judd 102B.
Yeah, you had missed him because he was not here qualifying. He didn't score any time, and he has joined later for the race, probably to be safe. Because as I said when I was talking about Richard Wilkes, well, if you are not able to really make a great time here, then maybe the safest thing is to actually start from the back of the grid and watch to see what happens.
True enough.
So everybody now doing burnouts and putting heat into the brakes, and this is really tense for the pole sitter because he will be the first one arriving there, and he will have the most time of his car sitting still there, cooling off the brakes while everybody lines up for the position.
Yeah, this is a critical time because the guys in the front, they're hoping and praying that the guys at the back of the grid get there quickly because the car's sitting there idle, and these cars don't have onboard fans to cool them off. They are relying exclusively on the air running through the radiators. So every second that they're on the grid here, the car is building heat. So
it's ironic because they are trying to get away with the heat of the engine, but how they wish they could put it into the tires and the brakes. Comes David Saber, who was delayed for the grid. I'm not sure.
All right, starters orders now. Everyone stand by. Turn up the volume. Here we go. And the race is underway! Great getaway by Pascal Mikola. He comes up to Sandoval, but look at Dave Miller going through into second place. Oh my goodness, we have a fire! It is Brian Janik pulling off. Oh my goodness, that is a big conflagration. He's clearly out of the race. Unbelievable.
Probably
Pascal
over-revved the engine there, forgot
he
to
probably
shift
did
gear or whatever.
Oh, that's
Thiago
really
was in the
rough
barrier, but at very small speed, and he has been able to make it through. And
all right.
Oh, whoa. That's Gianluca trying to get by Mike Olsen, who had stopped nearly there. And lots of action there in the track. Richard Wilkes also trying to make quickly a move on Bruno Chacon, because if Bruno gets in the groove quickly in his lap times, it's going to be very hard for Richard. So everybody trying to make the best of the situation now.
Through the Nouvelle chicane for the first time, Pascal Mikola leads in his Tyrrell Honda, now into Tabac. And this is a very snaky part of the course. And you see there, Dave Miller in second, Cox in third, Grant Rodal fourth, Del Piccolo fifth, Jakes in sixth, Aquino seventh, Ray Rodal is in eighth. Cars streaming through here. This is not a good place to overtake, obviously. Pascal Mikola now coming through the final corner to complete lap number 1 of the Monaco Grand Prix. There he is.
What a start by Dave Miller, because
yes, fantastic.
We might be able to see it later in a replay, but I mean, it was incredible because he not just did a good start, but he absolutely got that the car in front was not getting away quickly, and he did a master move there coming out. He assessed the situation well because the other car had not been able to do it, and he changed lane and was able to overtake on the outside the car in front, which is the Richard Coxon. So it was absolutely beautiful. And while watching this, I've seen Pascal slightly bruise one of the barriers with the outside tire.
Yeah, I saw that myself. It's he's gonna have to be very careful to conserve the car.
David Jakes trying to put some pressure on Gabriele Del Piccolo. He knows he needs to stay with the top of the grid and not let them get away that easily. We'll see what happens here, because being able to preserve the brakes will be paramount. David has, for example, his car is the Brabham is one of the heaviest cars, and while they are going with the maximum brake ducts here and they are using the less pressure possible, it's certainly going to be a very tolling race. We've got also Anders Nilsson there, who did a really good start and is behind Brad Riddle. Then it's Juha Boss.
Riding on board now with...
been able to get past Bruno Chacon now, which will be... Well, this will be very good for him in the race, because that Williams from Bruno is obviously not an easy car to overtake. Bruno is usually very steady in his driving, so it will have been a relief for him to be able to get by before Bruno gets really into the rhythm of the race. And now he's trying to make a move from Tim Hille. And he does. And a position there for Richard Wilkes, who is making his way upwards.
Well, the unfortunate thing is Gianluca, his teammate's already out of the race.
Wait, he was in the pits.
Timo is also, he's in the pits.
Tiago. That's the other
Tiago.
Lotus.
Yes, not Timo. 2 Lotus drivers with names that start with T.
Oh, and Gianluca is out of the race. I missed that one. Oh, that's unfortunate. Right, Riddle is meanwhile very close to Little Al. Oops, he glanced the wall slightly there.
Yeah, he did. So it cost him a little bit of time there. Going through the swimming pool now. But Coxon is sandwiched between Dave Miller and Grant Riddall at the moment. And it appears that, Pascal's pulling out a little bit of an advantage here, just a small amount.
Well, Richard Wilkes is shooting like a balloon through the field. He's now putting some pressure on Mick Chapman there.
Oh, yep, there he goes. Well, not unexpected, because Richard Wilkes definitely has the racecraft to get around this circuit, and the fact that he didn't have the qualifying start he would like. Oh, now he's heading up the hill. This is a difficult section because if you're this close to it,
very powerful, but we'll see.
Whoa, oh goodness! It looks like Mick Chapman might have missed a gear there. But
Richard must be pulling his hair not to have been in the side instead of right behind in the slipstream.
Yeah, exactly. Now he's going to see if he can overtake him. There he goes into
Mick
Mirabeau.
Chapman saw it coming, and very sportingly he didn't shut the door. So.
Then you got Tim Hilla back there in 15th, so he's having a decent race to start. Oops, he ran over the curb there a little bit. Oh, goodness. Oh, no! Simon Watman out of the race at the exit of... Well, wait, hang on a minute. No, he's not out of the race. He's going again.
He simply missed the chicane and had to...
Yeah.
But there's one thing about Simon Watman, and I was talking about that the other day with Richard Coxon, that I was very surprised, because you usually see him because he has little time to prepare for the races, and he just jumps happily into whatever car is available, and he usually does a good job, but he's also usually many time involved in, he has spins or has incidents or whatever, which is obviously the problem of not having enough preparation. But one of the funniest things is you are so used to see him having that kind of problems that you would never tell him that he has a 70% finish ratio in the races. I was really amazed when I looked at that statistic. I mean, he is a finisher. It's just that
it's true.
Has many incidents over the races.
Riding on board now with Grant Riddall in 4th place, a guy that has had trouble finishing in this series. He actually dropped out of the USAC series so he could devote his entire attention to this one. And if you look just ahead, he's looking at Coxon in 3rd place and Dave Miller in 2nd. And you can see how difficult it is to thread through that Nouvelle chicane. Now they're into Tabac, which is by comparison quite easy. Now the swimming pool. So the front group here is really, things seem to have calmed down to a pretty good extent. There's not a lot of nuttiness going on.
Yeah, because David Jacks also doesn't seem to be able to go past Gabriele. And that settles things a bit. And they are obviously right now waiting because they know they have to preserve the car, the tire. So they are settling in a rhythm that suits them and trying to just get away with the first part of the race until they do a pit stop. Anders Nilsson is the only one that is now close to Ray Riddle, who seems to have been falling back a bit from Little Al. And the other guy that we need to watch is obviously Richard Wilkes, because he wants the position that Adam Hackman currently has.
Oh, yes. Yeah, he's definitely closing up. Hackman driving his first race for Benetton, as we said. And Wilkes is going to be attempting to move up to 12th place now. I think, Wilkes could probably be the sleeper in this race, I agree. Because all he has to do is keep the thing going in the right way. You can see the Ferrari of David Saber up there in 11th as well. That Ilmore engine's got some decent power. So it's really a question of getting the car to handle properly. This car was designed by Adrian Newey, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
He was involved in several Formula One teams at the time. He was already a very promising engineer, so... But yeah, there's Richard Wilkes getting close to Adam Hackman, and this is one of those complicated situations where, because there is so little room here for overtaking, I mean, overtaking the slower cars is one thing, but getting to someone who is more or less on your pace is a different beast altogether. And because there are so little chances here of overtaking, you need to be very careful when balancing your aggressiveness and your will to pass with not getting damage for the car in the barrier. But I think that's what I believe, that Richard Wilkes is very well aware that Adam is catching up with David Sabre, and as long as that happens, then Richard Wilkes is probably happy, because he's basically moving forward up the grid, and if they both go past David Sabre, that's fine for Richard as far as he's concerned. He can take Adam Hackman later on, and the important thing is that being behind Hackman doesn't mean that he's losing time. Since both are catching up with David Sabre, that doesn't seem to be the case.
All right, so we're still following Richard Wilkes here as he comes up to Hackman. Hackman now finds himself as the meat in the sandwich between a Ferrari and a Leighton House. Oh, it looks like Wilkes got good purchase coming off of the corner leading into the tunnel.
And what something happened there to Grant Ridal, who is without rear wing. Vidal just overtook him. Yeah, his car is certainly damaged.
Looks like he has a... Oh, yeah, he is. Into the pits he goes. Oh, my goodness! He has an accident in the pits. He's lost wings on both ends. That's going to make things way more difficult.
Yeah, watching the replay now.
Oh.
Entering the tunnel now. Not in the replay. Not sure what happened here.
I'm running it back myself. It appears that he had some kind of incident in the swimming pool. All right, here's the replay. Oh, he hit the barrier on the outside, very similar to an accident that happened in 1991 at that exact spot, but not nearly as severe. So yeah, he's going to be in the pits for a while, unfortunately.
Yeah, the problem is the suspension damage, not the wing itself, which can be changed.
And meanwhile, Wilkes is still stalking Adam Hackman. And this is now because of that misfortune we just witnessed. This is now a battle for 11th place as Wilkes looks up the inside and gets chopped off by Hackman. But happily, Hackman sees at the last minute Wilkes coming through, gives him the space. Wilkes' next target is David Sabre in 10th. And with all this that's been going on, Anders Nilsson has got his Ligier Lamborghini up to 8th place, and he's now challenging for 7th place.
Yeah, he has been stalking Ray Ridal for a while, and probably now getting a bit impatient if he's confident with his pace now. While on the back of the grid, there are also some fights between Victor Alcocer and Timo Vermeers. Timo was catching up with Bruno Chacon, who is in turn trying to overtake Tim Hille. But he suddenly found Victor Alcocer there behind him, so he will be having to go defensive now. Victor really struggling there for rear grip on the tires of the Tyrrell, having lots of wheel spill coming out of the turns.
Okay, meanwhile, Richard Wilkes is now right in the back wing of David Sabre as they head up Beau Rivage into Massenet. Lots of sparks coming off Wilkes' car under braking. Now into Casino Square. He's definitely looking to overtake in the next few corners here.
Yeah, the difficulty now is finding the spot, because normally in a road course you would expect the people to more or less do the same thing in every lap. Of course they will be trying to do the same thing here, but the thing is that it isn't exactly the easiest to do. So it's, I mean, from lap to lap you can see people braking a bit early, a bit late, a bit to the left, a bit to the right, depending a bit of how the car is behaving. So it's with the space being so narrow here, it's always a blind guess where you're going to be able to overtake. The fact that you saw someone make a little error or leave a bit of a gap open the previous lap doesn't mean at all that the same would happen in the next laps.
Hackman is staying right with this group, not too far behind. And it looks like Ray Riddall's opened up a little bit of space between himself and Anders Nilsson. The next best battle in the track is right here between Coxon and Dave Miller as they put Tiago a lap down. Or maybe that's a second lap down after the damage that he incurred. But Coxon is now all over Dave Miller. So this is easily the best battle on the circuit. Through the swimming pool complex. The next corner will be the Rascasse. There's the Rascasse on the right. Turning right. On the main straight here in a second. Last corner. You can hear that Renault just ahead in Dave Miller's car. Heading up the hill now. Beau Rivage. Looks like a little bit of a gap now being pulled out by Dave. It looks like Dave might be better in this section of the track than Coxon is. We'll have to watch and see if Coxon closes up in the twisty bits below. Maybe Dave is running slightly less wing. Coming into... Yeah, he closes up pretty good here, coming into Lowe's hairpin. Oh, man, placed really well here is Coxon as they come down. Maybe he can get something done here. I don't know, maybe not. This is difficult because you really have to stick your neck out going into Nouvelle Chicane if you want to overtake somebody. Oh, he's right with him now. He had to jump in the brakes really quickly. I think the closure rate was a bit more than he expected. But this is a fantastic scrap between two very skilled drivers, Dave Miller and Richard Coxon. Coxon, as we mentioned before, the championship leader with 20 points. Dave Miller, he has 10 points. Winner of the Brazilian Grand Prix earlier. Coxon has won 2 races so far in this championship.
Yeah, though Richard is basically testing the waters there, trying to force Dave into some kind of error. Because with that lead in the championship, he's obviously not going to throw it away just to
not at all.
Their devil move.
The other thing that Coxon is very good at doing, and I've seen him do this in other races, is dealing a dummy to somebody. And what I mean by that is for lap after lap, he will fade one way or the other. Well, one particular way to give someone the feeling that if they're going to try a pass, it's going to be there. And then on the lap where they actually want to make the pass, they go the other way. So you've psychologically dealt the guy in front of you a dummy to give them have them do the opening. It's like a con job. So that might be something that Richard's thinking about doing. Who knows?
Oh, and Victor Alcocer is all over Bruno Chacon right now. Man, I mean, it seems that...
and Simon Watman's out of the race, unfortunately.
And Adam Hackman's out of the race.
Hackman's out too! Oh, that's terrible.
And Timo Vermeers also. Well, there's so much action here that you easily miss it.
You usually do.
Watman also, yeah. Grant Riddle, well, shows his repairs, but no, he has abandoned the race also. But Victor Alcocer, like as I was saying, he's really, he's almost lost their control of the car. Lots of wheel spin. Probably his tires are very hot at this point. And that's the thing about Bruno. He might not be the quickest, but he does a very steady driving and does know how to make his car very wide. Now there's Victor going there. Oh, they touch. But he was able to make it through. No. Bruno drags him again to the tunnel.
Yep. All right, this could be interesting here. Coming down to, oh, goodness! Victor missed the chicane. If he gets that, he's going to have to give that up. There he goes. Very sporting of him. I thought that might happen because it's very easy to lose your bearings there when you're, the bulk of the laps you're running here are usually by yourself. Now you have a car in front of you blocking some of your view, and if you have any cues you're taking from the track, it can be difficult as, my goodness, Victor is going to try to do a pass at the Rascasse, and
well,
he
managed.
He managed to, but good grief.
Now comes the leader. Let's hold on now.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, Bruno stays there, steady, so as to allow
Pascal
the leader
going
to
around.
pass. Good move.
Pascal comes up now. He's going to put a lap on his teammate. And Victor moves across. Good job.
Oh, Richard Coxon there. Look, he headed for the barrier and he touched it. He was coming in too hot to turn one.
Oh, he's still right with Dave Miller. This is not over yet, folks. He may have incurred a small bit of damage, but as they come down, they're going to be lapping Tim Hille here, who hopefully knows that they're there. Coxon goes up the inside. He contacts the left rear of Dave Miller. So this is getting very heated between these two. The championship fight definitely on between Dave Miller and Richard Coxon here in Monaco.
Yeah, I think basically Coxon was trying to get advantage of the lap cars that had been hampering a bit Dave. But he got a bit too anxious there. Now he will need to cool down a bit.
Maybe it's just this is a long shot with less audio, but I'm guessing that these two are going, okay, let's play a little cool. It's only lap 14. We've got a ways to go. Oh, goodness, now they're coming up on Chacon. And in the confusion, Coxon tries to get an advantage, but nothing happens. The action, fast and furious.
Had cooled down the tires a bit, but now he's trying to put pressure again on David Saber. But he's funding that Ferrari very wide and very powerful, obviously.
Starting another lap. This is lap 15. Miller goes up the hill. Following him is Richard Coxon. And that car in front is not Mikola. That's his teammate, Victor Alcacer. So that gives you an idea of just
Tim
how
Hill
much...
in the pits now.
Tim Hill is in the pits. Meanwhile, David Jakes is closing in on... Well, no, that wasn't a pass for position. These are lapped cars. David Jakes tailing Gabriel Del Piccolo.
Ray Ridal is behind Del Piccolo.
Nilsson is starting to close in again on Ray Ridal, so we might see something interesting transpire there. Wilkes is getting close to David Saber. Victor Alcacer getting the blue flags now because he is just in front of the second and third place cars. And this is going to be critical because if he holds up Dave Miller, it's going to allow Coxon to pass. And of course, he lets them by, so no harm done. Canola, despite his pit stop, is 14th on the track. Bruno 15th. Mike Olsen is soldiering on in 16th place. He's doing a good job there of letting people by. But don't be surprised if Mike is around at the end of the race to finish in the top 10, or maybe better, because I hope I haven't just jinxed him saying that. But he clearly knows how to get around a track, and based on the practice times that we saw, I'd say that he has a good chance of doing well. Looks like he might be fighting that car slightly. Hard to tell.
Well, it's still quite early in the race.
Coxon still right with Dave Miller, just forcing the issue, trying to get him to make a mistake. Coming through the tunnel now, heading towards Nouvelle Chicane. Backs off a little bit, Coxon does. I think, you know, the last two laps, I think the proximity may have been just opportunistic stuff. I don't think Coxon really wants to drive that close to Miller if he can help it.
Well, that's the way of putting pressure on him.
Yeah, it is, but at the same time, I'm sure he wants to preserve his car and make it to the end as they come out of the swimming pool heading towards Rascasse yet another time. Oh, Coxon fighting some understeer. There is a mistake from Dave Miller.
That's the reason why he stays close. That's what he's trying to find, that situation. Where Dave makes even a slight error and he's able to put the wheel there in front. Look how the Renault pulls up.
It does. You can see the advantage there of the Renault V10 over the Judd. Heading down to the Mirabeau once again. Would you say at this point that Dave might be holding up Richard a bit?
Could be, but you never know, because Richard is probably overdriving the car a bit.
Oh, look, here he comes. He's got purchase on the outside. So Dave had a slight...
Yeah, but that Renault power is...
Yeah, there he goes, yeah.
He's not going to let him pass it easily.
Now I'm going to get the business from Mrs. Dave in the forum because I suggested that her man was holding up Coxon. Go ahead, flame me if you want.
That's what
He's looking up the inside again, and no. This is a great scrap. And Del Piccolo is actually closing on these two. He hasn't dropped back. So Del Piccolo might make this a 3-car battle before too long.
Jason, there's some sound on the background for you.
Yes, that is apparently a weed, a leaf blower that someone's using. I can close the window if you'll continue. If you can take the seat as main commentator, I will close the window.
Right, so Coxon's still there trying to make the move. In the hairpin it didn't work, but they were so close that they nearly touched. Going to try now at the exit of the tunnel.
All right, I'm back. Is that better?
Yes.
Okay, good. Thank you.
So Coxon was again very close by at the exit of the turn, but that's not the place where he can go past Miller, because he can't outdrag the Renault engine in that Williams. He needs to do something different. But it sure is going to be, this situation is, so briefly a yellow flag there. Bits of parts.
Looks like a piece of some car there. So somebody lost a wing. Coxon having another look, but there you see Del Piccolo is not far behind this group. So that's
what car that was, because all the cars that I see in screen, they are complete. Tim Hille, maybe it was Tim Hille who is in the pit for repairs now.
Could be, because once the car goes into the pits for repairs and into the box, the game automatically puts the wings back in the car, so you can't tell at that point. As they come down to Lowe's hairpin, Coxon.
Thiago Canola is now putting also a lot of pressure on Victor Alcocer. So I'm not sure. Yes, it's for position. It's for position. He's not trying to unlap himself. Now he passes. He gets by. Wow, Victor is really close there. It's going to be dangerous for the braking. And behind them comes Little Al to lap.
Mike Olsen is in the pits. Apparently had some damage. He is still in 16th, but exiting now.
Yeah, coming out of the pits now. Okay, he's waiting now for the flashing light. Well done, because the car is coming hot.
And,
so this is what this track has. That's the main problem. Overtaking here is so difficult. So you have the Richard Wilkes, who is stuck behind David Saber.
Yes, he is.
Anders Nilsson is also still stuck behind Ray Ridal. And well, David Jakes is a bit far behind. Gabriele Del Piccolo, who in turn is catching up with Richard Coxon and Dave Miller, locked in their own battle. Wow, and Del Piccolo is really coming quick now. I mean, we've already talked about this. These cars, because of the big difference in fuel, as the fuel gets used over the stint, they can change the behavior over a race considerably. So it might happen that at this point, Gabriel's car is starting to handle really well and is allowing him to go much quicker. Whereas maybe the cars, maybe Miller's and Coxon's cars have deteriorated a bit.
Well, perhaps. And he's got David. Oh, goodness! It appears that there's a car. It looked like a Dallara or a Ferrari. I couldn't be certain. I'll have another look here as the cars come by. Coming out of Tabac, I believe. No, don't see it anymore.
I think it was Mike Olsen moving aside.
Oh, goodness! Little Al! Little Al has hit the barriers in the swimming pool and lost his wheels, and he's out of the race. Let's take a look at a replay of this. I don't know what happened there, but it looks as if he just made a bad judgment going into. Oh, the back end swung out on him. That's what happened. But this is a much more serious incident. Definitely, that's going to be parked for the day. That's really too bad. David Saber
Probably
is going
tire wear or whatever. But yeah, he has quit already.
Yeah,
well, this is a very unforgiving track. Any error here is paid dearly at the barrier.
It is, that's for certain. So he's going to be dropping down the order, unfortunately. Meanwhile, let's go back to this battle between Coxon and Dave Miller. It has not let up at all. You can see there as we look from the back of... oh, there's a tire missing. I believe that was one of Little Al's tires.
Yeah, and Richard Coxon is now getting antsy because he sees Gabriele Del Piccolo
Yeah,
coming
exactly.
from behind. And the prospect is not really nice.
Looking now from Gabriel's car as they come down the main straight. This is a Ford-powered Jordan. A good car for getting around this track because it's balanced really well. And really, I mean, we've seen how the Williams Renault engine is allowing Miller to pull away on straight bits of the track, but he's not, this track in many ways is a great equalizer. Having a mass of power is not necessarily the answer here.
Well, it helps, as we have seen.
It helps, but it's not everything.
But it helps not being overtaken in the straights, but it certainly doesn't help you not getting the other car right behind and being able to capitalize on any small error that you do. The pace is similar for other cars that have less power if they are in the hands of a good driver.
You can see there on the telemetry or the digital display in front of us. You can see the speed that is being generated. Let's see what so it's about 90 miles an hour through the swimming pool. I can't imagine doing that in a passenger car, let alone one of these, but it's pretty impressive. Now down to Rascasse. He takes it all the way down to like 40 miles an hour there, a little less. About 50 miles an hour through the final corner. Now let's see how much speed he can build on the straight here. Fifth gear. Goodness, very, very quick. And if you look in the background there, you can also see David Jakes closing in on this group. So while Pascal Mikola is way, way out in front, there's a lot of action going on behind him. And I mean, this is going to play right into his hands because the less stress he has, the easier it will be to go the 78 laps trouble-free. Things have cooled down a little bit here for a moment between Miller and Coxon.
And Little Al was telling me that he just got for a moment distracted there looking at the hut, and that was enough to lose the car there.
Well, that's all it takes. I remember running a 1967 race at Monaco. I was driving a BRM, I think, and I was having a really good race. I was in 6th place early on, and all it took was for me to be distracted for 1 small second, and I took a wheel off the car at Poitiers, and that was it. Done. Game over.
Yeah, this is a race where you can't. I mean, you need to like pray and hope that everything in the HUD is looking well, because you don't have really any time to look at it. We haven't talked much about Pascal, but he's now in the lead quite comfortable.
Yeah, absolutely. What we'll probably do when we get to the 30-lap mark here is I'll go through the entire grid.
Yes, there's 15 cars now on the track.
Total. Coxon right with Miller again as they go into the Lowe's hairpin. I almost called it the station hairpin, but at this point it is known as the Lowe's hairpin. Now to the... Yeah, Miller's having a great deal of difficulty getting out of Poitiers with some purchase, but once he gets the power on, that Renault engine makes up the difference quite quickly, and Coxon is not able to do anything. I bet Coxon wishes he had a nitrous button in there, because...
Well, this is one of the catch-22 with if you have a very powerful engine as Dave Miller has, you also have more wheel spin coming out of the turn.
That's true.
Oh, Coxon, I think he hit there a bit the barrier. He clipped it again, I think. It's either lag or... I don't know. It seems to be that he was touching briefly there. But anyways, as I was saying, if you have more power, then you have more wheel spin. And that means that for the first few yards, the other car who has more gentle power output, he can really outdrag you. But then, obviously, on the long run, you get to stick the nose in front. And Dave Miller must now be feeling as if hunted by a pack of hungry wolves, because Del Piccolo is already catching up with them.
Yeah, Del Piccolo's doing the tactically smart thing here. He's waiting for... Oh, and Coxon goes... Oh, more contact! Miller goes to the outside. The cars come to an almost... Oh, my goodness! Del Piccolo gets through, and Coxon falls to 4th. Incredible!
Yeah, Richard was waiting there a bit sportingly for Miller to recover, but...
And here comes Del Piccolo up the inside! And it looks like he's going to possibly take 2nd place.
Well,
maybe?
If he had
No,
been able to pass on the tunnel, that would have been a first, I think.
Well, Richard went for it, and it didn't pan out, and the price paid is that Del Piccolo got by. That was opportunity knocking very loudly for Gabriel Del Piccolo. Pretty impressive stuff.
Well, you were talking before, what's the point of following so close the other car in front, but there you see it. Oh, look at that. What happened there to Gabriele?
Interesting.
Early.
And now...
Well, Richard had gained the position. But
let's have a look at that in replay one more time.
Maybe
because frankly I missed it too. Let's see. Swimming pool looks okay. Exiting swimming pool. I don't know. He didn't get the power down enough, and Coxon just looked up the inside. Del Piccolo, actually, that's interesting. He just kind of gave it up. He was like, okay, fine, here. Now Del Piccolo back to 4th place. Has got David Jakes crawling all over his back wing. Well, not exactly, but...
Yes, Jakes, as we have said before, has one of the heaviest cars in the grid. And what that means is that he was not going to start race really until he had used up a lot of fuel that made his car lighter. Now he has a better chance of driving quicker without really taxing the brakes too much. Good move from Coxon there, who was able to overtake Saber in the quick section. Now David is making room, but that gave Richard a bit of a breathing. And you can see that even visibly the cars are now speeding up. They are going quicker. I mean, they've burned nearly half of the fuel, so they can now...
And there you see on your screen, Pascal Mikola has set the fastest lap of the race just now at... Oh, there's a bit of a bump.
And there's Mike Olsen in the garage also. seems to have abandoned.
Oh, Mike Olsen out of the race. That's too bad. Well,
but this must be very tolling for him. I mean, it's tolling for anybody, but
it's tolling for anybody. This is one race that I never got too bummed out that I was out of it when it happened, because it's like, well, you got good company. So I think maybe Miller missed a gear there or something. I don't know, but it was like suddenly Coxon was right up his back end and actually touched him. So.
Well, they're certainly making it quite interesting for us, even if they can't overtake. I mean, the heat is on clearly between these four. Really very impressive driving here. Now let's see what happens in this straight, because Jakes has obviously a more powerful engine than Gabriele Del Piccolo, but he's heavier. Brabham doesn't come out of the turn so well. Oh, Jakes there, he was all over Del Piccolo's rear, and I think he even touched it a bit.
Well, these guys are going to have to be careful. I mean... Oh! And again, I don't know if it's ping or what, but it looks like Jakes might have touched the barrier there.
Oh, look at Miller! Ah!
Oh, no!
There on the throttle.
Oh, no! Miller's out of the race! No! Oh, my goodness. Replay. And is it another swimming pool calamity? He
got power oversteer there.
Well, let's see. It is. This time on the exit, the thing gets... Oh, my goodness. He goes into... Oh, that's too bad. But good job of Richard Coxon staying clear of him and not getting collected, but he's out of the race. That is really too bad. Sorry to see that, David. So that promotes Coxon to second place. Del Piccolo's third. David Jakes is now fourth. And he's following Del Piccolo, so this is shaping up to be the next big battle.
It is, yes, because there is also a podium place there at play.
The reactions on YouTube have been fast and predictable to Miller's retirement from the Monaco Grand Prix. And if Coxon keeps going, it certainly has the potential for opening up the championship quite wide. Next race is Canada, and that's going to be another Titanic scrap, I'm quite certain. Jakes is definitely late breaking into these corners, wants to try to get ahead of Del Piccolo. We can smell that top three.
And he doesn't want to lose Coxon in the distance.
And after all his issues, Canola's up to 10th now.
Oh no!
What?
Del Piccolo slowed down there a bit to get from Bruno and David Jakes.
Oh no! Replay. So rate of closure just caused Jakes to be confused, I guess. Let's see what happens. Is it here in it? Oh, he's with Chacon. Is that where this happens? Slows down a bit. Yes. Oh yeah! Oh shoot! And not only did he lose the wing, he clogged the hit the barrier pretty hard. So, oh goodness! So that's definitely going to put a spanner, as Jonathan would say, in his race.
Yeah, well, Gabriele was there like a bit unsure where to pass Bruno, and he obviously lifted the throttle, and David Jakes wasn't expecting it because his visibility isn't that good. He wasn't able to see what was happening in front of him. Well, David's now driving without front wheel for the pits. And, well, I mean, this is going to hurt, but with some luck, it's not going to really destroy the race completely.
He may still be able to...
This is a point in the race where he can get fresh new tires, and...
Yeah, and then make hay with those.
No, but he doesn't have front wing.
Yeah, that's weird. I saw that too. I'm not sure what's going on there.
Maybe he forgot to put the repairs.
He's heading out of the pits now. Oh, you know what it was? He had set no damage repair off on his thing, and now
that's what
oh goodness! So now he's got to go around again. Unbelievable. And he hits the barrier once again.
Yeah, but
man.
if he has damage repaired, then probably the crew will start to work on his suspension, and that will make it much longer.
Goodness. Even so, he may still be able to have recover and have oh goodness, he's really fighting the car now to get back to the pits.
Well, that takes some pressure out of Gabriele Del Piccolo and of Richard. Richard now quite behind Pascal Mikulas, so any shot at the win must be based on Pascal having problems in the race. Whereas Gabriele, if he keeps up with his pace, he could be very well able to contact with Richard Coxon again. And now, oh, Gabriele, I don't know what happened there to him, but his car was like that. Coming out of the corner, he probably missed a gear. He had lapped Richard Wilkes, but Richard was able to unlap himself.
And now David comes into the pits a second time. Let's see if now the wing comes on. Yes, it does. So it was a menu selection mistake. I
he
guess.
must be cursing his luck there.
Oh, I'm sure he is.
And well, yeah, but look at the. I mean, I don't know if this is a correct prediction, but there's like 2,900 seconds of repair there. But it's not the first time that it looks
I've
worse.
found that those numbers don't mean anything from a.
Yeah,
from
therefore it doesn't necessarily mean the case, but he should be even stopping the engine now because it would get cooked. Otherwise,
yeah, you have to turn the engine off, otherwise you're going to have.
Yeah, which is what Brian Janik has explained in the forum. He was really quite demoralized with that because he. Okay, there goes David Webs out now. Brian Janik got his engine cooked in the grid, which is really weird thing because nobody else has suffered the same thing.
Well, that throws open the question of what's going to happen towards the end of the race. Is engine life going to be an issue for some as Chacon makes room for Anders Nilsson and he's driving the Ligier Lamborghini. Coming up to the swimming pool now. Our YouTube friends have suggested the swimming pool should be renamed the Killing Pool because of all the accidents we've had in the swimming pool in this race so far. I wouldn't debate that, as we have another yellow flag that may just be someone in the garage area, because sometimes that happens with the close proximity of the garage area to the Rascasse. You can probably make a case that the Lamborghini is one of the better sounding engines in the mod. I'm going to turn the volume here and stop talking for just a second and let our viewers enjoy the Italian symphony that is the Lamborghini V12. So that's a sampling of the sound of the Lamborghini. Too bad it handles terribly. But he's staying right with Ray Radal. So I think when I think Ray goes to sleep tonight, he's going to see blue on the back of his eyelids. And quietly, Juha Boss has climbed up to 6th place. He's in the points. So it could be another good day for Juha here. He had a good finish at San Marino. And this is interesting. With all the difficulties that David Jakes had in the pits, he's still 7th. So the attrition rate is such that people who are having issues, and Canola is 10th, So people who have been to the pits once, it's not a huge problem. Some people are might be able to make something good out of this before the race is over.
Yeah, I'm not sure if someone has already made a pit stop. I mean, a scheduled one. But if that's the case, and there's going to be some, and remember, we're not even half distance yet. If there's going to be pit stops, then maybe it won't hurt that much for David Jacks and the people who have had to end it early for damage.
Ooh! Anders Nilsson takes a big swipe at the wheel as he tries to stay with Ray Riddall. So definitely the ill-handling nature of the Ligier almost bit him there.
And Del Piccolo is in 5th position behind these two. I missed the moment it happened.
Well, you got to consider that there have been multiple. There was the retirement of Dave Miller, and then David Jakes going to the pits. So that's why Del Piccolo is 5th right now. Nilsson still shadowing Ray Riddall. Yeah, I'm glad I closed my window because my neighbors have decided to fill a giant bag with leaves right outside my window, and they've got power equipment going and everything. So apparently they did not get the memo that this was broadcast day.
So Pascal's lead is at this point 8.4 seconds, and so it's not a huge gap, so to speak. It's a comfortable gap, but remember what he said in the interview prior to the race, that he was really struggling with the rear tires, so anything can happen. I don't know if he's going to stop, he didn't tell us about it, but well, we have to watch that.
All right, so while we have a break in the action here, let's do the trivia answer for everybody. We've had people guessing in the YouTube chat already, but some of you may have joined late, and maybe you're not looking at the chat, so maybe this will be new for you, whatever. And the question is, who qualified second for the 1991 Grand Prix of Monaco? Was it A, Gerhard Berger, B, Jean Alesi, or C, Stefano Modena? Time's up. What do you think, Alberto?
Oh, well, I know it, so I'm not going to answer, but let's see what the best guess of
you've been 0 for 3, so go ahead and say what your answer is. I want to give you the winner bell if you get it right, because you've been 0 for 3 up to this point.
So I think that was Modena.
And that's the correct answer, Stefano Modena. Who
it was quite unbelievable, but he did it.
He did it, and he probably would have done well in that race too if his engine hadn't blown up. But it was okay because he got a second place finish at Canada the following race. One of the crowning achievements in his racing career. All right, so back to the race. And this is, it's funny, this is also a Tyrrell Honda like Modena drove, but it's the Nakajima, number 3, that's in the lead. So, yeah, in all the stops that we've witnessed, I think most of them were for damage and not for tires. And we're coming up now on, I would say we're 78 laps. I'm wondering what I got to do a calculation here. So we're coming up on half distance now. Half distance is 39 laps. So if Pascal is going to stop for tires, and he talked about he was having to preserve them, I mean, oh goodness, if he does any more of that, he's going to need tires for sure. Based on his pace and how he's been doing, what do you think, Alberto? What if you had to guess what kind of a tire strategy, if any, he has? What do you think?
It's hard to tell at this point. I mean, by the lap times, it doesn't seem that the current tires are suffering too much. So if he's gotta change them, then I repeat, put the same.
Mm-hmm. Coxon is now, well, at first I thought he was battling with Jakes, but Jakes is a lap down. Oh, goodness. This is interesting. Del Piccolo is now closing in on the back of Nilsson. So that'll make for an interesting wrinkle for this fight, because Nilsson's been shadowing Ray Riddall most of the race.
Yeah, and as we have seen before, many times when there are two cars that are like locked in a battle but unable to really get a decisive move, sometimes it's a third car coming from behind that causes everything like to come together.
Yeah, and Del Piccolo was that car in the previous instance you're talking about.
It was, yes.
So maybe it'll happen again as he's really closing now in the back of Nilsson. Into the Rascasse. Turns right. There's the pit entrance. One more right hand. You see the sign that points to the direction of Nice. He's pulling on Nilsson quite well here with that Ford V8 versus the Lambo V12. Oh, and look at that! Whoa! Nilsson may have missed a gear there. Heading up the... Oh, no, Gabriele. You don't want to try to overtake up here. Into Massenet. So Nilsson clearly made an error there. Probably missed a gear. Heading down the hill here. And
this is making Raya very happy, man, because he's obviously seen that and he's like running as if the devil was pursuing him.
Yes.
Oh, and Nilsson there power sliding out. He's trying to show Del Piccolo that he still has some speed up his sleeve and doesn't want to lose contact with Pride Riddle.
Coming out of the tunnel now. Well, this is where most of the action has been in the race. Second, third, fourth, and fifth. And one other thing that I forgot to mention, I was thinking about it earlier, but with Coxon running in second and Ray in third, this is going to give a big boost to... Oh, there he goes! Yep. Okay, Ray Riddall heading to the pits. Ray Riddall is making a pit stop, obviously, for tires. Up goes the car. You can't see it, but they are going to be putting on fresh Pirelli P0s. This drops into fifth place. There he goes, out of the pits. Very quick pit stop. Looks like he's going to lose probably another place. Maybe not. That was David Sabre, but I think he might have been a lap down. No, he's going
to... now chased by Thiago Canola, by the way.
Yeah. Well, that Ray only dropped to fifth place there, so that's a relatively small cost. And yeah, here's Thiago Canola challenging Sabre for ninth place. This is an excellent battle. Thiago had damage early on, but was able to fix it. And to your point, Alberto, he's probably benefiting from having fresher tires than David at this point. So the time he's lost, he's making up rapidly with the fresh rubber. The other thing, too, you may not have chosen the same compound he started on, since the race distance is shorter than.
That's a possibility, because even if the race distance is the same, you're going to do that now with way less weight because of the fuel that you've used.
Exactly. And you may think that that's a simple matter of just choosing something in the menu, but on a track like this, where you have no time to rest, scrolling through a menu and making a call like that is not easy.
No, you have that you need to have that prepared already from the garage, but then if you want to change something, it's, well, really crazy. Anyways, Gabriele is now really looking at Anders Nilsson, because Anders has already shown some signs of weakness there at some points, and Gabriele knows that this is a third spot. This is the podium that he's really chasing all the season.
But now that we've had one pit stop, obviously for tires, that was Ray Radal, question becomes, is Anders Nilsson doing a similar strategy? I don't know. But Del Piccolo,
if he's doing it, the proper moment to do it is, what he should be doing is try to hold Gabriele Del Piccolo as much as possible behind him, because that destroys his race, his rhythm.
True.
And then, if he gets past, immediately then dive into the pits.
Okay, Del Piccolo heading through. Oh my goodness, looks like he's going to make an attempt here into Nouvelle Chicane, and he gets it done. Very well executed by Del Piccolo. So he goes
Very
up the third.
well also by Anders Nilsson.
Yeah, not forcing the issue, not making it any more of a problem than he could.
And if Anders going to get tires, that's going to be now.
Yeah, exactly.
We'll see what happens now.
I would think that the Jordan would be a nice car to drive around here. I know that people have mentioned to us before, I think it was Jake's in previous incarnations of this mod, that the car is not the easiest handling car to drive, but with the Ford V8 power, I would think that it'd be pretty nimble around here, similar to the Tyrrell being quite nimble with its smaller Honda power plant.
Yes, the lighter the car, obviously, the more advantages it has here in this kind of tracks.
YouTube chat giving props to Del Piccolo for the nice move he just put on Anders Nilsson, and that's... we've seen him pull off similar moves in other tracks. Del Piccolo's clearly a driver to watch.
Very good at overtaking. He is our own Lewis Hamilton.
The other thing that occurred to me now is that he's driving Andrea De Cesaris' car, who's also Italian, was also Italian. So there's probably a little bit of pride in there. Ray Radal soldiering on in 5th place. I'm sure that he's just about now getting his tires to the point where they're at good temperature. Jakes is now into 6th place, so he's back in the points despite having the damage that he did.
And I was looking at Pascal Mikula's lap times, and in the 41st lap, he did 1:39, which is 10 seconds slower than normal. He had been already slowing down in the previous, so he probably was in for a pit stop.
Okay, so if that's the case, then...
Yes, because all the difference was in the last sector, which is where the pit stop is, so...
Alright, so that means he was in the
already
pits.
New tires. And let me check, because how that played out for Richard Coxon. Richard hasn't been in the pits yet, but he has been lapping quicker than Pascal in the laps prior to pitting.
My chart shows him to be 3 seconds and change behind.
Yes.
And
yes,
Chapman.
Pascal had a big lead, an advantage. He's now on fresh tires, but he has pit, and well, Coxon hasn't, so the gap was reduced there, because the pit stop is here very quick, okay? Because the pit lane is really, really short. There is no pit speed limit there, and you are already entering it from a very slow corner and exiting with full speed to the place. So it's really a situation where you don't lose much time.
Tiago Canola out of the race, unfortunately.
Well,
not sure what happened there, but so as we expect, and it's no big surprise, but attrition playing a big part in the Monaco Grand Prix. Coxon's gap to the leader is about the same, 3.5 seconds. He's got a car to. He's got a couple of cars in. Well, Jakes is no slouch, so he's not going to probably overtake him. But maybe he can get a bit of help from Jakes in terms of straight line speed by slipstreaming off of him on straight bits. Maybe that could help him. But we don't know what strategy Coxon's on as far as tires go. But we do know that...
I can tell you that his last laps have been the quickest ever, so in the race so far. So that means that whatever he picked, his tires are really holding well. And if Pascal gets this win, that will be a boost in the championship for him. But with Richard being second, if things finish like this,
it's not going to be a big dent.
Also make Richard be quite safer at the top of the table.
Let's show everybody the driver's points one more time. Coxon is leading with 20 points. Wilkes in second with 11. And Miller, who is out of the race now, is third with 10 points. Janik, who's also out of the race, 9 points. And Yunt, who is not here today, with 7 points. So of that group there, the only two people who could potentially score points are Coxon and Wilkes.
So Coxon has direct sight of Pascal, but Pascal is obviously on the fresh tires, starting to slowly move away.
Yes. And the question also will be if Ray Riddall is able to reel in the cars in front of him. Anders Nilsson and David Jakes continuing in 6th place. Juha is down to 7th. Maybe he might have stopped for tires as well. Hard to tell. Because he was in 6th at one point before, I believe. Wilkes is in 8th place. 9th, David Saber. 10th, Mick Chapman. 11th, Victor Alcacer. 12th, Bruno Chacon. And that is the last car running, is Bruno. And he's one lap behind the leaders.
At this point, I mean, Ray Riddall is doing high 128s, 128.7 constantly in the last lap. Whereas in the case of Anders Nilsson, he's more irregular. But last lap he did 127.9. So in that regard, he seems to be safe on the tire side and Ray isn't gaining any ground on him.
Well, that's interesting. I mean, we've talked about the evil handling of the Ligier Lamborghini, but it would be really sweet to see Anders score points in this car because if I remember correctly, historically, this car, I don't know if it scored any points in 1991.
We'll make that a trivia question for the next time.
Okay, fine. We'll ask how many points did this team score? That'll be next. Oh, great. Now I've just asked the question, so we have to wait until next time. Yeah, I watched the actual 91 Monaco Grand Prix last night in prep for this, and exciting race, very interesting. Especially the moment where the Marshal almost gets hit by Senna. That guy had to change his britches after that, I'm sure, and he probably has a great story to tell his grandkids. But those of you who haven't seen it before, like early on in the race, a Marshal is running across the track at the exit of Saint-Devote, and Senna just barely misses him as he scales one of the Armco barriers. I remember seeing that on TV as a kid, and I was just like, what the... I think it's fair to say he was not employed as a marshal after that.
Well, if you have to die being run over by a car, I guess you do it in style, being run over by Senna rather than anything else.
Yeah.
I'd rather be run
Oh,
by
and Jakes
Senna.
is out of the race! David Jakes has retired!
Oh.
He actually came into the garage and pulled into the garage spot. So props to him for making it realistic, but he pulled into the pits and went straight to the Brabham garage and pulled in next to his teammate.
Well, that's weird.
I don't know what that's about.
Maybe he was not feeling well.
Maybe not. That promotes Richard Wilkes to 7th place. So Wilkes may yet make some points in here, and he's second in the championship, so anything would be good. Boss is now up to 6th, so he is now in the points. Ray Riddall 5th. The top of the order from that point does not change. Del Piccolo still in 3rd. Pretty lonely race for Coxon at this point. Not that he's complaining, I'm sure. And here comes Mikola putting a lap on David Saber, who's in 8th place. Oh my goodness! What is David? Oh my goodness! David just ran into the back of Mikola. What was that all about?
Miscalculated it there, or maybe Pascal braked too much to be safe in the hairpin and
certainly a
surprise
miscommunication.
David.
So he overtakes him there, and here's Sabre. That's really strange because for all the world, it looks like he was going for the inside. That's odd. I don't know what's going on there.
That's Wilkes. Wilkes is in the pits now, scheduled pit stop probably.
All right.
And coming now out.
So we're going to have to pay attention to Pascal there. I wonder if that caused him any damage. It was a pretty light tap. Maybe not.
Well, let's hope that was not the case.
Oh, we got a spin by David Sabre now. Sabre has spun the car in the swimming pool, the worst possible place you could spin the car, and he's got it going again. So something's not right with...
Yeah,
something's wrong. There's damage there. Something's wrong. He came into Raskas all crossed up, and he's going now going to the pits. Yes. So something's not right with Sabre's car. That's too bad. The difficult season for Scuderia Ferrari continues. Luca Di Montezemolo is going to be on the hot seat. In the Italian press, the Tifosi are going to get ravenous. They'd better start producing results.
While the gap between Pascal and Richard has decreased, but that's maybe due to that incident. It's only 2.5 seconds now.
Sabre exiting the pits now. So we'll see if his handling improves at all. I doubt. No, he's still... This could be a terminal situation because whatever it is, the car does not seem to want to track properly.
Maybe he was thinking that it could be a flat spot or something like that.
Maybe it was a flat spotted tire. That's true.
But if that's not the case, then he will have to quit because it's too unsafe to be.
Oh, he goes right on. Okay, well that's it. He's now out of the race for sure. He just ran clear off the escape road at the end of Mirabeau, and yes, now both Ferraris are out of the race. Oh goodness. So Wilkes is now in 7th place after his pit stop. He's got a long distance to make up to Juha Boss, so unless there's some kind of big calamity, I don't know that he's going to be able to elevate to the points, but you know, crazier things have happened. Mikola continues to lead, and Coxon has closed considerably on him.
Yep, as I told you, the difference is now only 1-point-something seconds, and I don't know if Pascal got damaged there. But he's going very slow, and Richard Coxon is really, really getting close to him.
Well, yeah, I mean, that contact that he had with David Sabre might have caused more damage than we first suspected. As they come into the tunnel now, Coxon can probably smell or taste the blood in the water and realizes that Pascal might have a problem, so...
It could also be the case that Pascal's tires are, well... He went for something way softer than before, seeing how well they serve. Maybe it's that the tires have started to give up.
Maybe, I don't know. I mean
the car doesn't seem unstable as if with damage.
Again, well, this is a... I believe these cars are both on Pirellis, as it looks like he's going to go through into the lead, and Coxon takes the lead of the Monaco Grand Prix. Mikola drops to second. So now we'll see how much...
tires, because otherwise he would have entered the pit. So I'm not sure what's going on here. Or maybe that's the other possibility. It's the brakes. He's suffering from brake heat. And he has to cool them down.
The only real evidence we have so far is that he had that contact with Sabre at Lowe's hairpin, so...
Yes, but if there was damage in the car, we would see him like struggling, like, oh, there he keeps the barrier. I mean, damage or rear suspension bent, it would make the car unstable. We would be noticing that. But it didn't seem to be the case, at least at first. Now that he has clipped the barrier, maybe.
Well, we'll see now if Coxon can pull out an advantage, bearing in mind that he's on older tires. He may have chosen a harder compound at the start of the race. Which, frankly...
The steering wheel is really straight in the case of Pascal, and he seems to be able to follow Coxon. Well, the other possibility is that he had overcooked the tires and had to slow down a lot until they were again cool. That could also have been the case. because there's only 1 second difference now, and well, we'll see how this evolves over the next laps.
And they've got a car up ahead here, but you can see how much Coxon's pulling out.
Yes, yes. Now it's clear that Pascal has some kind of problem, and well, I don't really see his car struggling for stability there. So
He is really soft pedaling it now.
My bet is brakes.
Well, we heard a lot about yeah, he's really taking it easy now. We heard a lot from people after San Marino that brakes were a problem. We saw a lot of people go off at the final at the 2 right-handers before the chicane at San Marino because they had brake issues.
Pace, even Gabriele Del Piccolo might be able to catch up with him.
It certainly looks like it's a brake issue because that if you knew you couldn't stop the car, you'd be less anxious to accelerate hard, and you'd take it easier into corners. So that may be what's going on, and he's just waiting for the brake temperatures to come down.
Yeah, if you run out of discs, for example in the rear, if you have more bias there, and you're relying only on the fronts or on the rears, then it's well, you have to really take care of them. But man, it's lap 51. This is going to be very long for Pascal.
So, but he's got a huge gap, at least, between where he's at and Del Piccolo. I mean,
yeah, it's 40-something seconds.
Yeah, Pascal is coming down towards Mirabeau, and Del Piccolo's just exiting the swimming pool. So there, yeah, he's got a healthy gap.
So Pascal is basically doing now 131s, okay? But the thing is that previous lap, for example, was 28, and the previous to that one 126. So it could be really a brake problem where he has to let it cool down. But anyways, 131, that's the lap time that he's doing at the moment. Whereas in the case of Gabriele Del Piccolo, he's driving, well, he's flying now because he's also smelling the blood in the water. But he was doing 127 and now he has been doing 126, high 126. So let's say that the difference is about 4 or 5 seconds per lap that Gabriele is gaining on Pascal if both continue at the same speed, which means that he should be with him in 10 to 11 laps.
So with about 30 laps to go in the race. Well, actually, hang on a minute. It says 52 of 78 on the thing. What lap count do you have?
Yes, the leader is on lap 52 of 78.
Okay, so let's run through the top 10 for you. Richard Coxon is in the lead.
Oh,
second,
because I mean Gabriele scores there 1 lap less, but that's probably because Pascal has already gone by the start.
Yeah, he just hasn't gone by the. Yes.
He never was lapped.
Yeah, see here, he's going to cross the line and he'll go to 52 now.
All right.
Yeah, there we go. So, yeah, Gabriel is third. Anders Nilsson in the Ligier Lamborghini, amazingly fourth. Fifth is the second Dallara of Ray Radal. Sixth, Juha Boss. Seventh, Richard Wilkes. Eighth is Mick Chapman. Ninth, Victor Alcacer. And 10th, the very last car running, is Bruno Chacon. Out of the race with an accident, David Saber. Suspension damage for David Jakes. An accident for Tiago, an accident for David. Mike Olsen with suspension damage. Little Al, an accident. Tim Hille in suspension damage. These are all going to be suspensions or accidents. Hatman, Vermeersch, Wattman, Grant, and Gianluca. And the first retirement on lap 1 was Brian Janik with an engine failure.
Yeah, this is the second one, and he was really quite upset with that.
Oh yeah, I don't see how you couldn't be. So, my prediction coming true. I'm going to bask in the glory of that as long as Coxon can drive the next 34, I'm sorry, not 34, like 26 laps home without any trouble. 24, I mean. This is why I'm not an engineer. And Pascal still seems to be struggling with that car. Not
yes,
that
he went a bit quicker on the previous lap. He did a 130. But he's certainly not able to go very quick. And Del Piccolo is now 45 seconds. I mean, this is going to be really a struggling race for Pascal, because he knows that the gap is decreasing, and, well, he will be counting the laps till the end. That's 25 laps now till the end. And Gabriele is more or less still, he's doing 126, and I expect him to only get quicker towards the end of the race because of the lighter fuel load.
Well,
so, lapping about 4 seconds quicker than Pascal.
If I'm Pascal, I realize that I can't win at this point. The only hope I have is if Coxon has an accident, which is not out of the realm of possibility. I mean, anything can happen on this track. He may have an instance with a back marker, who knows? But Pascal's best bet now, tactically, is to just try to manage the gap between himself and Del Piccolo, and just give away only so much a lap so that by the end he's still in second place. That would be the tactically superior thing to do, I think, right now.
All right. Going to see if I get some radio info.
User left your channel.
All right, so while Alberto's out of the booth for a second, let's take a moment to look at what's coming up in HSO. This Wednesday, Winton Motor Raceway. We go back Tin Top Racing, rounds 9. Rounds 9 through 10 of round 16 of 16 rounds. Wednesday, March 11th. Check the forum schedule. Then we go back F1 Racing, round 5 of 16. Molson Grand Prix du Canada. Sunday, March 22nd, green light at 2000 CET. Then we go back Tin Top Racing again on the 25th of March on a Wednesday, rounds 11 and 12 of 16 of ASTC, and that is Malala Motorsport Park. And then USAC Racing again, the Trenton 200, or the Trentonian 200. I believe that refers to the newspaper there. And that's round 4 of 13, Sunday, March 29th. We've got testing coming up this week. We're going to make sure that the track is ready to go. I'm really looking forward to that event.
Well, just was on the radio with Pascal, and it seems that he has damage on the left rear suspension.
Well, there you go, and we know what that's from.
I think actually David Saber hit him on the rear right.
No, it was the left rear because he was going for the inside.
Okay.
So that definitely was David Saber's contact. So unfortunate for Pascal, but it is a risk around here when you're lapping somebody, because cars cannot simply vaporize and let you by. Even in a situation where I'm quite certain that Dave just made a miscalculation there. He was obviously not interested in battling.
He already said in the forum that for whatever reason the car would not stop. Maybe he also had a bit of brake fade, or, well,
possibly.
Anyway, it's obviously something non-intentional. It was completely, well, bad luck there.
This would also account for the car lurching to the left a little bit, because sometimes when you have brake issues, the car suddenly wants to go in a different direction than you. Like, maybe that played into it somewhat, but in any case, it clearly wasn't intentional. It was.
I have to say, though, that for whatever reason, even if Gabriele is lapping very quick, he isn't really reducing the gap to Pascal that much. I mean, it's if we go by total gaps, it should be like 30 seconds right now, because let me check.
Well, we do have one exciting battle on the circuit right now. Everybody's spread out with the exception of Mick Chapman and Victor Alcacer. This is a battle for 8th place, and they are very close to each other, so this could be good.
Yes, they are on the same lap. So they are really fighting for position there.
Although it must be said that Mick has taken it rather easy going into those final two corners. Yeah, he's definitely pacing himself.
The question now is, Gabriele is obviously seeing that Pascal is having problems and is speeding up. He has been doing the last laps in 1:26, which indicates that he's really pushing it. The question is, will his brakes be able to withstand this punishment? Because, well, last time they already let him down, and this is not exactly a track that is easy on the brakes. True, the speeds are not so huge, you're not braking from that huge speed, but you're braking a lot.
And the leader now is going to be, well, okay, this is Wilkes, sorry. Wilkes in 7th place overtaking Chapman. And Alcacer has pulled out a bit of a gap on Mick now, and him having to... Oh, Victor's having some trouble putting the power down there. I'm not sure what that's about. Wilkes in 7th, so... and Boss in 6th, Ray 5th. Anders Nilsson about to dispatch Bruno Chacon. So yeah, there's still a huge distance between Del Piccolo and Mikola. So we'll see. I don't know. It depends on if Mikola can struggle on with the damage that he has and not have an issue with the car. There are now, after this lap, there will be 20 laps to go. So Pascal's car is we've mentioned before, is the Honda V10 engine, and this is the car that or it's the engine that won the championship in 1990. And Senna was on record at the time as saying that he preferred the V10 to the V12. I forget exact. Sorry,
no, go ahead, because I have some interesting news here.
Oh no, go ahead. You the news is good.
I've been watching and. Well, either Pascal has hit the barrier in the perfect way to fix the suspension, or he has found a way to drive the car like that, because he has been able to go down to 126 dead.
Shoot.
So he's matching the times from Gabriele Del Piccolo, and it's no surprise that we didn't see the difference, the gap there decreasing. Actually, Gabriele is only doing 127 in the last laps. Due to traffic in one situation, but probably due to having to cool down a bit for the brakes and the tires. So it's interesting, but Pascal has been able to respond. And for Gabriele, that second position now seems a bit more far than ever.
We're looking at his times now, and you're right. 126 dead for the last lap. The previous was 126.1, and that's a huge improvement. We'll see what his lap time is as he comes around now. Not sure what it's going to be. It looks similar in terms of the two sectors that were completed so far. Crosses the line, 126.6, so a little slower. His best lap
as long as he can keep it in the 126, you bet that Gabriele will not be able to close. Because Gabriele is able to do 126 only for a few laps before he has to cool down. So his normal pace is more in the 127 bracket.
Oh, goodness! Victor Alcacer is into the wall and has lost the front wing. He's got all four wheels in the car, but clearly that's going to cause damage. He misses the chicane entirely. And also, Chapman misses the chicane. Maybe he was just surprised to see the car in front of him. But Victor, oh my goodness, now he's like all over the map.
And hang on, because Richard Hodgson has also slowed down massively on the previous lap. I don't know if that was traffic or having to cool down things, but he had been able to go down into 126. Then he was up to 127, then 129 in the last lap. Let us see, because he's already in the very close to the end of the lap, to see what lap time he gets now. Because Pascal has eaten 2 seconds from the previous difference. And I don't see him really going that quick through... No, 129, look at that. I wasn't watching him, and he wasn't really going that quick through the start-finish line.
The gap is 11 seconds now.
Yes, but it was 13 2 laps ago.
Yes, so we'll have to keep an eye on that. Meanwhile,
10 seconds now, the gap.
Victor Alcacer in the pits for repairs. That drops him to 9th. Chapman is now 8th. Wilkes still 7th. Yuha is 6th. Ray Riddall is in 5th. Anders still in 4th. 3rd is Gabriel Del Piccolo. 2nd, Mikola. So let's pay attention to Mikola's times here versus Richard Coxon, because this may not be over yet.
Lap, probably because of lap traffic or whatever, but he still was 2 seconds quicker than Richard. The difference is now down to 8.9. I mean, nearly 1 full second in the last lap. Let me check, because yes, Coxon is not really gaining on that. I mean, his last sectors have been even slower than before, so he's gunning again for a 129. I think that his tires are absolutely shot. Remember that he hasn't stopped.
That's true. That's true. He hasn't stopped.
We'll see what he does. If he's going... No, he's not apparently going for the pits. Passing now the remaining Benetton. He's on the main straight. And there was again a 129. So distance to Pascal now is 7.5 seconds.
Pascal just did a 126.6, so he's keeping the pressure
Pascal
up.
is able to do 126 even with the bad suspension, whereas in the case of Richard, it seems that the tires are at the end of their life. Well, who would have said that 10 laps ago? This is going to be high drama at the end.
Yes, it is. We got plenty of time for Mikola to reel him in. We have 16 laps to go in this Monaco Grand Prix. Coming up on Chapman now, who's in 8th place, who makes plenty of room for Mikola to get by. Meanwhile, Richard Coxon exiting Nouvelle Chicane. So if his tires are indeed shot, it's going to be a problem. Both of these cars are on Pirellis, Coxon's car and Mikola's car. Del Piccolo is running Goodyear's, I believe, as is Nilsson.
6.4 seconds now, the difference.
Wow. All right, so everybody hold on to your hats. This is going to be interesting. Into Saint-Devote up the hill. Here is an interesting situation. Ray Riddall, the teammate of Richard Coxon, between the leader and Mikola on the road, but in 5th place. See if he makes it easy to get by.
Good move there.
Yes.
Pascal should anyway be very careful because his car is obviously still damaged. So if he's pushing it just because he's seeing the distance with Richard Coxon decrease, can, well, take too high risks here.
Coxon is just now exiting.
Yes. 5 seconds difference. Under 5 seconds now.
Yeah, it's 4.9 now. So yeah, the battle is going to be on in a minute here. Unless Coxon can respond and dig deep.
Well, the thing I don't really understand maybe just Richard was too confident on that, but if the problem was the tires, at some point when he had 13 seconds gap, he could have stopped for new tires. We saw that already by Pascal when he stopped and didn't lose the lead, when he had a gap of something like that, 15 seconds or something like that. So maybe Richard is right now lamenting that decision. Well, he's down to 127s again, I should say.
Yeah, I was in the back of my mind. I was thinking Coxon's going to respond at some point here, and this may be that response.
Yeah, but
still not.
I mean, why did he do that? It's interesting because if Pascal had been having a good rhythm and catching up with him, I can understand that he plays the role of the wounded prey so as to make the other eager and force him to destroy his tires on the follow. But at this point, Richard was like quite comfortable. Maybe he simply overcooked them because he had done several laps in 126 and is now, after doing several laps to cool them down, is getting into the rhythm again.
It's very close. I mean, I've been showing the last couple of shots how close it is. Mikkel is definitely...
Yeah, and make no mistake, even if he has sped up, Pascal is still quicker.
It's a 127.3. The gap is 3.3 seconds now. So yeah, it's Richard is responding, but not in a way that's going to preserve the lead for much longer. If he needs to dig even deeper if he wants to stay ahead.
My goodness, Pascal was even able to go into the 125 for 2 laps.
Wow.
Previously,
because those were his best laps.
Yeah, but this tells us something additional also, besides him not having enough damage in the car to hamper him, and that's that speed difference is enough to go for the overtake, because if you're like half a second quicker than the car in front, it's going to be very hard to overtake. But with nearly 2 seconds difference, then well, he probably will be able to pass.
All right, coming down to Nouvelle Chicane again. One thing is definitely certain, Coxon's not going to lose his cool in this situation. He has laser focus when it comes to situations like this. He does not get rattled. Coming down to the Rascasse. Once again, looks closer to me this time. Yeah, no question it is.
Yeah, just under 2 seconds now.
So, as we've always said, catching is one thing, passing is another. Looks like Coxon had a slight bobble there coming out of Saint-Devote, but just because Pascal can close up to the back of Richard does not necessarily mean he can get by. We saw in the 1992 Monaco Grand Prix, the real one, that Nigel Mansell, having led most of the race, had a tire puncture and had to stop late, giving the lead to Ayrton Senna, and fans were treated to an incredible battle between the two at the end of the race. Mansell tried everything to get by Senna, but simply couldn't. We may see something like that happen here, because it doesn't take much. You just make your car slightly wider, and you can dictate that the car behind you stay there even if it's faster. We've seen that played out several times in other positions during this race. So Mikkel has got to be thinking too about where is the best place to attempt an overtake.
Yeah, and with Coxon there's always a poker game, because he knows very well how to fool you into false confidence about that. Though in this case, Pascal is so eager of victory because he has been like having it at the tip of his fingers for so long that he will probably like do anything necessary to go past.
Pascal won.
There a bit the barrier.
Pascal won our Lucas Vidra Trophy race a week ago, driving a Porsche 956, I believe. Or is it a 962? I can't remember.
No, it's a 956.
Okay, so he won. So he's on a hot streak, if you include that. So he's going to be anxious to follow it up with a win. And now he's right with the leader, Richard Coxon, as they go into the tunnel. Everybody,
look at that, a bit too overeager.
A little bit. No one will ever accuse Pascal of not being enthusiastic. He definitely wants to win. He definitely wants to do well. He's got youth on his side, that's for sure. So, but Coxon is very cagey and very smart. So, Pascal's going to have to really be crafty to get by him here. Now, the other thing to consider is if they, Pascal, to be fair, has been known to be very ambitious in his overtakes in the past, and if something were to happen, Del Piccolo, even though he's quite a distance back, Who knows? Could be a benefactor of something. Hopefully that does not happen.
Well, the Piccolo must be now happy with the third position that gives him a podium, because he's the other one that had been deserving that. And here is the thing, because I was thinking myself that with the power difference, because of the engine in that Tyrrell right now, probably the best spot to pass Richard will be on the.
There he goes. He has a look in
straights. I mean, either going for it in the tunnel or in the main straight. Oh, whoa, 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 whoa! No, Richard will defend her on the inside. Yes.
No, he had the right line there.
But Pascal there clipped the barrier, because the exit here, this was a place where his more powerful engine could probably have been of big help. He will now have to wait until the start-finish line, but he would be right now not very clever if he tries to make a move on this section. He should be following Richard here, and because you are coming out of the very slow hairpin before the start-finish line, what he should be doing actually is trying to outdrag him there.
Here's Bruno Chacon just ahead. This could
play a role.
Well, no, Bruno. That was very fortunate, actually. That's a great play.
It was also a very good move by Bruno.
Yes, but that's an excellent place to let people by.
One of the best ways I've seen him to let someone by.
10 laps to go as they come by into the first turn.
Uphill is the best chance that Pascal can have. Look at that. I mean,
he's definitely closing.
Up the engine. Look at that, but now Richard's going to...
Oh! They make contact! More contact! My goodness! Coxon stays there! He's going to retain the lead! My goodness!
I'm
coming down
not
to...
understanding how both cars made it through. Really.
Unbelievable!
I mean,
now there's... Unbelievable! Pascal looking up the inside of the Lowe's hairpin. He's got the inside, but Coxon's got the corner next way. Oh! Fantastic racing! Coxon chops him off, going into Portier, now into the tunnel. Beautiful, beautiful stuff. Down to Nouvelle Chicane. Less than 10 laps to go in the Grand Prix of Monaco. You're looking at the lead of the race being fought between Coxon and Mikola. We are being treated to a great prize fight at the end here in this race.
And there is some aero washout here for Pascal. I can feel it because of the way his car is working. Look, he has to give some distance to Richard Coxon.
Yes.
Because in these turns, his car really is not entering. He now needs to get back close in the main straight and then try it again uphill. But
yeah,
unless Richard makes an error, it's going to be hard for Pascal. This time there is too much distance between them. The problem for Coxon is that because it's probably a matter of tire wear, he can't really accelerate well out of this corner and get the maximum of his engine. This time the distance has saved him, but let's see what happens now at the tunnel. Pascal is already realized what's going on here, and he will be trying to do the overtake at the high-speed section.
Oh, he just touches Coxon. He was very lucky to not have something bad happen there.
By now, cooked tires or brakes.
We'll see.
But look, with all this, he has wasted his opportunity, which is here and an uphill. That's where the Tyrrell can pass. In this section, he has the problem of the aero washout on the front. Look at this turn. Look.
Yes. Yes.
And here again, I mean, he needs to be very cautious here.
He's right with him again, but we're having an armchair critique of Pascal's driving in the YouTube chat. He's not trying in the right spots. So, we'll see. Coxon.
He isn't. He needs now to get close here if Richard makes any kind of error and get a good exit out of here. He did it because he was very close to the barrier there, and this is the place where he might have the best chance, but Coxon goes for the inside, predictably.
Oh,
but
goodness.
Now in this rundown,
Mirabeau. And there's two cars ahead of this group. Coxon takes the inside, defensive posture, good move. Oh, Oh, look at Pascal having major oversteer there. Coxon protects the
He was just
inside.
trying to get more angle for the outside.
All right.
Exit, but here. Look at this. Oh, the lap cars that will hurt probably.
Oh, yeah, this is going to be interesting. Pascal looks on the inside. He's on the wrong place to try to overtake. He's going to brake later. They go inside by side. Coxon retains the lead.
Fantastic driving, great car control
Awesome.
by both. I mean,
Awesome.
they touched, but it was barely anything.
This is great. I hope everyone's enjoying on YouTube. 16 people watching right now. Thanks so much for tuning in. You're treated to a fantastic scrap here. This is what racing is all about. This is why we do this. This is why we enjoy it.
This is Wilkes and Bosch fighting for the 6th position.
Yeah, exactly.
They are now finding themselves in the middle of this.
Oh, man.
Whoa, that's going to hurt now. It's going to give the draft to Richard Coxon, but at the braking zone, this is going to hurt. Yeah, look at that.
Up the hill. He takes the defensive line. Pascal, oh my goodness. If he wasn't careful there, he might have glanced the barrier. But my goodness, what an incredible contest this is. Pascal looks the inside at Mirabeau.
No, he was just showing himself.
Yeah, down the inside now. Oh, there's contact. And Coxon's now going to accelerate. More contact. My goodness. He retains the position. Goodness, no punches are being pulled here. Wilkes gets out of the way.
As they say, what goes around comes around. And Pascal just got it.
Yeah. Oh, more contact coming down to the first chicane. 2 contact. Oh, my goodness. Coxon runs over the chicane, retains the lead. Now, what does that do? Well, it's hard to tell.
He was forced to
yeah,
cross
exactly.
the chicane. So
this is incredible. Man, well, we got those cars out of the way, and there's still quite a chunk of laps to go yet.
The day that Pascal is able to make his driving abilities with some more patience, he will be unbeatable.
David Young says, "Welcome to stock car formula racing."
Well,
this reminds me of the laps between Arnoux and Villeneuve in '79 when there was a lot of look at that. Coxon's like, no, don't you try that. He's giving them the taking the inside line.
The damage file of these cars, the damage in this mode is very sensitive. So
yeah.
I mean, sometimes the contact is more visual than anything. If they are able to go like this, not damaging the car, because they certainly are not, then it's because they are not doing it that bad as it seems.
This is easily the most exciting race we've had this year so far in any contest. Mikola looking for another way to get by down the inside. Is he going to take the lead? Oh, Coxon! Contact! Mikola takes the lead!
Well,
forces the issue.
Close are off, certainly.
Yes! Mikola takes the lead in the Monaco Grand Prix. Coxon looking for a way to counterattack. Coming through the swimming pool. Look at how close they are.
In this section, he's quicker, but once they get to the... Let's see who has more traction here.
More contact there. Oh, no! I think Coxon clipped the barrier there, but coming down now, they have laps 74, 75, 76, and 78 to go. 4 laps to go.
Look what happens here.
5.
Look at the difference that was in favor of Pascal engine-wise here. Now Richard has to try to force Pascal into an error, because doing the pass on power is going to be impossible.
Right with him. Oh, Pascal makes a mistake! Pascal makes a mistake, and Coxon still with him. Now here's where the power difference is going to make a problem for Pascal. The Honda versus the Judd as they exit the Poitiers and then into the tunnel. Yeah, you can see the huge difference there. So yeah, it's going to be down now to Pascal making a mistake. But my goodness. Catching my breath now, Alberto, after all this.
probably the case for everybody, because this is, wow.
And I hear other cars that, no, that must have been the backside of the course. Coxon staying right with Pascal here. Looks like there might be another shot, possibly. No, that was just a foreshortened shot. But yeah, it's...
And meanwhile, I should mention that Richard Wilkes was able to pass Juha Boss.
Ah. Well, that's significant
so
because...
There goes the point position of the race.
No, Boss is still in 6th, and Gabriel is 7th, but in the garage right now.
Gabriel Del Piccolo.
Yeah, he's in the garage out of the race. We missed it, but he's out of the race.
Oh.
So that's going to elevate Chapman into 7th. Goodness. This battle is not over yet, folks. Oh, Pascal has a slow exit coming out of...
I think Richard missed a gear there.
He did.
Because what happened there? Because he... Suspension. In the case of Gabriel, he crashed it. It wasn't brakes or whatever. He crashed it. That's really unfortunate. Well, there's a podium spot waiting for him somewhere, and I'm sure that...
Yeah, no question.
The season we'll see that.
His race at San Marino came to a bitter end as well. Late in the game, having an incident, but there were several people who were like that. Coxon sticking right with Mikola onto the pit straight once again. Coming by now, 3 laps to go. What a series of weeks this has been for Mikola. Fantastic result for him in the Lucas Vidra Trophy, driving the 956. Looking at a possible Monaco Grand Prix win, but he has to keep one of the savviest, smartest racers in ISO behind him.
And this isn't over yet.
No, it's not. We know also that Mikola is running with damage that he received from contact with David Saber some laps ago. Oh, look at that!
That's exactly the opportunity that Richard needs.
Yeah, but he just couldn't get the power on. You saw the wheels break loose there.
Yeah, that's Pascal's suspension damage that is making the car very, very imprecise. So he's hitting the barriers there at points like this where he should be just barely going by.
The other thing that we forgot to point out, and it's been pointed out in the YouTube chat, is that Anders Nilsson, with the retirement of Del Piccolo, has elevated the Ligier Lamborghini to 3rd place.
Well, it's an amazing result so
It is
far.
a fantastic result. Okay, 2 laps to go now. Coxon gives a bit of room to Mikola this time around. Maybe his car is used up at this point. We'll see. Maybe he's just taking a break.
It's also moving a lot. There must be also the suspension damage there for him.
Yes.
But now Pascal is finding traffic in front of him, so... Oh, that's Bruno Chacon. Oh, look, that allowed Richard to close by, and there's Anders Nilsson,
Yes.
which is a quicker car. Bruno again made a good move there.
Coming around, they will start the final lap of the Grand Prix of Monaco. It's been a fantastic race. We're glad we could bring it to you on YouTube. Thanks everyone for tuning in. And hopefully the Canadian Grand Prix in a couple of weeks' time will be even more exciting.
Well, it's going to be really an exciting one because this is, after Monza, I think, is the quickest track in the championship. It's a very high-speed one, and there's a wall that is called the Wall of Champions because all the not only the champions, but whoa, that's the one that Richard was waiting for.
Yeah, he's definitely looking for it.
Well, we'll talk about that, but the Wall of Champions is the one that everybody has hit about all over the years.
If Richard's going to make a move, the time is now. They have Nilsson to deal with just ahead of them. Mikola goes to the inside. Nilsson makes room for both. Very good.
Very
Excellent.
good, an expert move.
Very good, expert move. Coxon right with Mikola. He's got to get this is going to be his golden opportunity here coming out of Poitiers. He needs to get the power down good. This is where Pascal's had an issue. Coxon has a good exit, but the power just, it's just not there. The power's not there, unfortunately. Mikola.
Richard had done it better through the corner, but well.
Oh, Coxon has glanced the barrier. Oh, now the car's definitely bent.
Yeah, his car is damaged, very damaged. Now he has to limp.
Well,
but he should be able to do it in second position. Thankfully for him, he was close enough, and he will now basically limp into the finish line. But
and here it comes. Whoa. Pascal Mikola wins the Grand Prix of Monaco in exciting fashion, coming back from losing time to Richard Coxon and battling back. Unbelievable result. Second place, Richard Coxon. Third, Anders Nilsson in the Ligier Lamborghini. An exciting and fantastic result for him. Fourth, coming down now, it almost ran into the barrier, is Ray Radal. So it's a good day for the Dallara BMS team. They're going to come home with points scored with both cars, which is good for the Constructors' Championship. Fifth for Richard Wilkes. Sixth for Juha Boss, last points paying position. Seventh, Mick Chapman. He's still on track. So a good result for him. Not a points-paying position, but still quite good. Eighth, Bruno Chacon. So again, Bruno outlasts many people.
Despite all his back pain, he was been able to bring the car to the finish.
Del Piccolo finishes ninth.
It's quite remarkable.
10th, Victor Alcacer. 11th, David Saber. 12th, David Jakes. 13th, Thiago. These are all retirements. 14th, Dave Miller. 15th, Mike Olsen. 16th, Alberto Aquino. 17th, Tim Hilla. 18th, Adam Hackman. 19th, Timo Vermeers. 20th, Simon Watman. 21st, Grant Radal. 22nd, Gianluca Desposito. 23rd, and last, Brian Janik. So that was the Monaco Grand Prix. Really exciting.
Well, it was. And I think that Pascal should not be expecting any Christmas card from Richard this year.
No, probably not.
Guess everybody, all the drivers are still trying to get their heart to their normal beating rate.
All right, so we're waiting. Here's the Pascal's already in the green room, so we'll go ahead and pull him in here.
User was moved to your channel.
Pascal, congratulations on winning the Monaco Grand Prix. That was a really exciting last series of laps. Talk us through the last few laps there where you set up Richard. I mean, clearly you were going to get by him any way you could. Certainly was hair-raising at times.
God, we should probably rewind a couple laps, because as Alberto probably told you already, I hit the wall in the first corner in Saint-Devote. I hate that corner now, and bent my left rear suspension, and I had to spend like 10 laps to adjust my settings, my roll bar settings, so that I could somewhat drive the car. That's why I slowed down so much. And that's why Richard caught me so fast. And then, I don't know if you caught it or something, but I think Richard also had damage at some point, and that's when I noticed I could actually catch up with him. When I noticed that I actually caught up with him one lap, I thought, you know what, go for it. Yeah, and the best part of it all, with a heavily damaged car, I still set the fastest lap. So
we also
we
noted
already saw that you were able to adjust to the car.
yes,
So
yes, definitely. I had to stiffen the front up really,
that was
really bad
really a
because
hard fight with Richard, and we were mentioning
was.
here that you shouldn't expect to be getting a Christmas car from him this year.
He was very defensive in his driving. He wanted that win more than anything, and I don't blame him. It's friggin' Monaco, you know. And yeah, the traffic also was a little bit of an, I wouldn't call it an issue, but a factor in all of that. And yeah, at some point there was things like the chicane where we came together, where he actually cut the chicane and stayed in front of me, which, you know, I'm not mad. But
well, he was
that's something
forced to do that because of the lap car that was in the middle. Huh? We
okay,
saw that
in
also
that
in the
case, I can't.
broadcast.
In that, if that's the case, I can't blame him. Really, I mean, we're fighting for the lead, we're fighting for the win, and there's a lapped car in the way. Well, that car can't just, you know, snap and turn itself into dust. You know, so it's got to go somewhere. But there was a lot of really defensive driving. Really, it was amazing. I don't really know what to say. It was just amazing, and you know, I hope to see battles like that more on this year, just with a little bit less banging and hitting. You know.
we also
But it was
Pascal.
amazing. I loved it.
We also noticed that you got hit from behind by accident by David Saber once you lapped him at Lowe's. Did that cause any damage to the car?
He hit me?
Yeah, he did.
I didn't feel anything. I didn't feel anything. I noticed.
Interesting.
I saw. I lapped him. I know what you're talking about. What incident? I remember that. Yeah, going into the hairpin. I know. I just saw. I went through, and just from the just out of the corner of my eye, or like the upper corner of my eye, because I saw it in the mirror. I just saw his Ferrari like almost hit the wall, and my primary concern was actually, well, is he okay? Because it looked like he hit the wall. I didn't feel anything. If anything, I hit the wall a couple of times while fighting with Richard, and that caused any damage to my car. But no.
Well, that confirms a bit what we were thinking about.
With David Saber, I didn't feel anything. There was
yeah, the game doesn't reflect that graphically. That exactly. That there is sometimes less contact than we are actually seeing.
Yeah, but it would have been quite a moment if he had taken me out there. That would have been quite yeah.
So looking ahead, Pascal, we have the Grand Prix of Canada for the next round. A track that is basically sprinting between chicanes, most of it, and slow corners. What's your strategy going into that race, or have you even thought about it yet?
I did think about it, and looking at it, I compared this track to Imola, and yeah, I'm basically gonna use my Imola setup as a base and adjust from there.
Well, you certainly seem to have a power advantage over the Dallara, but I know the Dallara is going to get very soon an engine upgrade. So that's going to probably even things a bit more and make life more difficult to you for repeating, for you to repeat this. I should say I stand corrected by the chat that this is Canada is very quick, but there's still Hockenheim there to take precedence. So in that regard, Monza and Hockenheim are quicker, but still it's a very quick track, and well, you'll be glad you have that powerful engine there.
Definitely, but talking about Montreal, about that race, I wasn't, as I said, in my mind, I compared with Imola. It's a power circuit mostly, with some medium speed corners and a hairpin. It's comparable to Imola, and I wasn't very confident in Imola with my race pace. And it turns out Jakes and myself, we ran away from the rest until we crashed out. So I hope the same will happen in Canada, just without the crashing out.
Well, we congratulate you on your win, Pascal. Thanks for your post-race interview. Any closing thoughts from either of you before we end the broadcast?
Well, my closing thoughts is that Pascal finally has got to end the race and bring the car to the top. And from now on, he should probably see himself as championship contender if he's able to keep the trend.
I must say, I must give two compliments from drivers on track. That was really, really amazing. First of all, well, Richard Coxon for that battle. That was really something. My heart rate is just now starting to get calm down. And also Mike Olsen. It was lap 19 or 20 it was. And I was fighting with someone, or I was lapping someone, I don't know. And he had a pit stop, and he was waiting at the end of the pit lane in order to avoid any possible accidents. So that was, amazing. Absolutely amazing.
All right, well, thanks to my broadcast partner, Alberto Ibañez, for helping me call a very exciting Monaco Grand Prix. Let's remind everybody really quickly before we go what's coming up. This Wednesday, Winton Motor Raceway for the Australian Super Touring Championship, rounds 9 through 10. That's on March 11th. And then the Molson Grand Prix du Canada on Sunday, March 22nd, round 5 of 16. Green light at 2000 CET. Malala Motorsport Park will be the next Australian Super Touring race after that. Rounds 11 and 12 of 16, Wednesday, March 25th. Check the forum for the event schedule. And then we go back USAC Racing on the 29th of March, the Trentonian 200. We're turning right for this one, as well as left. So, thanks to everybody for tuning in. Calling these races is difficult at times, but also a great deal of fun. Thanks very much to Alberto for keeping me abreast of all the action. Hope you enjoyed watching this at home. And this is Jason White saying so long to you from Monte Carlo in Monaco.